Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 87. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, and joining me as always, except when he's not, is BT Calloway.
Yo, yo.
And making their triumphant return to the podcast, Danny Rosewell.
What up, jerks?
And Claire RR.
Hi.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
It's good to be back.
What phony made-up adventures have you guys been on?
We went to space.
Wow, space?
I've heard it's
On a
lovely
goat.
this time of year.
A man shot like 50 cockatoos at me today. That really happened. It nearly killed us.
That actually did. Right as we were pulling up, some guy chased a bunch of cockatoos out of his yard for some reason
And
at the
our
exact same time as we went past, and we nearly ran through like 5 or 6 birds.
Yeah.
Australia!
Yeah.
Australia, this is your... All right, and yeah, they're joining us. We're here. We're doing the Simpsons Index. This is the podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but there's a twist. Each episode must come from a different decade. But before we get into Simpsons talk, we need to ask the pressing question that's on everybody's mind. Guys, what window did you like to go through in play school? We'll start with you, Claire.
Ooh, I like the round window
Oh,
or the arch window
Thank you.
occasionally.
Excuse me.
yeah. Shag, you have a differing opinion.
Round windows are for chumps.
Tell that to, boats. All boats.
The arches, man. Arches are where it's at. They're shaped like a person crawling through a doggy door. Or alternatively, a dog. How do you get your knees through a round window? They don't. They bump the bottom.
That is a fair point, BT.
Well, it turns out we're together on that one. Archers all the way, man.
Exactly right.
Well, the thing is, it's a window. You don't go through it.
Yeah.
You look through it.
Isn't it?
I feel like a round is like a really nice shape for looking through. You don't crawl through the window. Go through a door, you weirdos.
Well, see, because the camera was zooming in, and as children, that was our perspective in life. It was you had to make the shape to fit through it. And as I had a condition as a child where I was lazy, and so an archway was just easier for me to get through than any other shape.
This talk got a lot deeper than I ever thought it would.
Was it let's go through the round window, or was it let's look through the round window?
Let's look through. No, it's got to be go,
It's
right?
go
I
through.
think it was go
Because
through.
we go through the windows into like a
What?
pre-recorded segment.
What were they trying to teach
They're
us?
training us to burgle.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go through the window. And now let's take the VCR.
And don't forget the jewels. They're usually in the underwear drawer.
Something's in the underwear drawer.
All right, guys. We just watched an episode from the HD era. This was Season 22, Episode 12, Homer the Father, first released in January of 2011, directed by Mark Kirtland, written by Joel H. Cohen. In this episode, Homer gets addicted to a tacky 80s sitcom, and he starts taking parenting advice from it. Concurrently, Bart wants a mini bike, and Homer uses the lessons he's learnt from the show to apply to his life situation with Bart, and Bart steers nuclear sequence to sell them to the Chinese government. Guys, what'd you think?
Oh, man. It started okay, then got bland, stayed bland. I'm like,
Yep.
okay, it's going to be a bland episode. And then it just got bad, and I was angry.
It started watching TV. I always have high hopes for the watching TV ones.
Yeah, me too.
Then the very first thing they did was like a series of fast cut posters on the TV. Like the TV was just an excuse to do more bullshit. Quick laughs, everyone laugh, quick. And then scene missing. And then suddenly like crazy racist. Are they allowed to be like that about China? It feels weird.
It's America these days. They are racist.
Because who's going to
No
fucking
offense.
stop them? They're America.
Don't catch you slipping now.
It was so boring. It was like a slice of white bread, but you watched it develop mold.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Wow. 1000% metaphor.
It's so garbage by the end.
Oh,
I've got so many problems with it, Elliot.
Oh, I have a problem with it.
see, so do I, but like I'm coming from the angle that I think it was a good episode that just fucking really miffed some key moments, key jokes and everything, and I agree, it's mostly bland, but this one has a good story, and compared to a lot of HD episodes, at least the story's solid in this one.
You've got a really low limbo bar set there,
You haven't seen the things we have seen
Yeah,
over the
I
last
know,
few weeks.
I know.
I've seen the things
We've
we've
seen
seen. I
things.
think this is a
Yeah.
worse episode than you're giving
Look,
it.
I
Really?
can hear what
Yeah.
you're saying. If I wrote down the plot points, Bart wants bike, Milhouse wants girls' clothes, which was never come back to, by the way. I
Yeah,
wanted to
it
see
was.
Milhouse in
It
the...
got a background
It
gag.
got a background gag,
Oh, I
yeah,
missed
while he was
that.
studying outside all
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah,
Within
yeah.
that Willy silly
Yeah.
joke that had nothing to do with anything.
So you were saying that you did.
I agree with you. Bart wants the bike. Homer says no because he's trying to be good. Bart sells the secrets. Suddenly Homer and they bond. Homer buys the bike. Da-ba-da-ba-da. That's like an episode of any 80s sitcom. That's the thing. It's a parallel because it is like an 80s sitcom in its story beats as well. Delightful.
So that's what I thought it did well. It played against the trope of having this satire on the 80s tacky sitcom, like, because I kind of appreciated this episode in the same way as I did Spin-Off Showcase, you know? That they hit the sort of that stylistic thing.
I feel like they didn't go far enough with it.
Yeah, it needed
Like-
the framework of it. It
Yeah.
needed, tacky music going into like the couch.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
more shots of like the front of the house with people walking in and laugh track being like, Kramer, how's the world treating you, Mr. Barney?
That would actually be kind of amazing if Simpsons did a canned laughter episode.
Yeah, like
I actually thought that's what they were setting it up
that's
for.
what they were going
Yeah.
for.
So, BT, starting with you, for better or worse, what is a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
I go with the positives. I do like the plot point of Homer learning good parenting from an 80s sitcom. I like the idea, and there's some jokes to be mined from that. I like how he gets the sweater that the dad has and starts talking in the same kind of lofty metaphors and things like that.
And how he pulls out the guide and like, well, there is precedent for this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some good stuff there. I think that's what bugs me the most about this episode is then it doesn't run with that properly, and that bothers me.
How about you, Danny? What is a moment from this episode that stand out for you, better or worse?
Should be better or worse. I did not like the wrap up. Homer coming up and standing up for his son. That's what's supposed to happen in these 80s Wonder Years episodes.
Yeah.
Then they quickly take him to. I didn't like the don't. Oh, I did like don't read our subtitles as a gag.
Yeah.
But
Still a
then
bit
it
on the racy card.
Went on.
And then that went on, and then he's like, "Hey, I don't know food speak in any language."
Yeah, I didn't like
and
that
then
either.
The obvious bit of they're going to take him to China. He's going to build a nuke. He doesn't actually know anything about nukes, so the thing's going to blow up. And then standing in front of the taxi.
Yeah. See, it's weird. It's too late in the episode to rush him to another country.
Yeah.
And then in this rushed part of the episode, they, take this time to do this stupid drawn-out taxi joke.
Yes, they rushed past the plot point, which was the nuke failing, and that shit was way rushed and also pretty obvious, pretty like fucking telegraphed by 22 years of Simpsons.
And then did Tiananmen Square Taxi. So
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
you all
I didn't
missed
realize that.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. How about you, Claire? What's a moment from this episode stand out to you for better or worse?
I'm going to try to go for one of the gags that actually I really did enjoy, which was Lisa talking about, if you just like worked a bit harder and actually got some good grades, he might give you money. Does Dad give you money? I've been doing the family's books for years. I take what I need. Like I just love that.
stone
She's
cold
so
bitch.
stone cold.
Yeah, it's completely factual as well. It's
I
like,
know she would.
I take care of me.
It's the delivery of a character that has been doing the right thing for so long.
She's gone fucking Walter White, man.
But yeah, this is her thing. Yeah, I skimmed from the top a little. Like,
Oh, there's the episode I want to see. Like Walter White was the good guy gone bad, right?
Yeah.
We need a Breaking Lisa episode.
Good title alone.
Yes.
When we eventually piss off enough Simpsons writer, they're like, fine, then you write an episode. I think that's what we
Let's
start.
do it. Let's do it.
But yeah, that's a good point, Claire. And actually, that makes me realize something that I don't like in this episode. I wish she was a little bit more involved.
Yes.
They're doing a tacky family sitcom. Why not involve the whole family?
Yeah, makes sense.
Totally.
Especially since they usually shoehorn the family into other episodes that have nothing to do with them.
Yeah, so often we see episodes become the Homer show.
Also, like international nuclear espionage. Isn't she the only one smart enough to have any clue what's going on?
Oh, imagine if she was the one that sort of solved the thing after Homer and Bart got in too deep with the Chinese government.
Real,
Nah,
man.
I'm sorry, that's a big sticking point for me. China has nearly 40 nuclear power plants. They don't need to steal secrets.
This is
I think it was almost like they were trying to push the terrorist card and then they realized like,
Yeah.
this is a bit awkward. Let's do China. China's like a kind of a non-threatening evil. It's not like, all those Arabic people that America hates at the moment. I feel like they were trying to push it and then they didn't want to.
It
I
started off
agree.
with terrorism, then it was the government's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it felt like it backed out very quickly of its own point.
Well, it should have because that was really not a good path to put Bart down because there was full awareness of what he was doing. He's not enough of a kid anymore to get away with these sorts of
Sure.
misunderstandings.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing. He saw the CIA van pull up and There was
Yeah.
no confusion about that. He tried to run, on his shitty little pedal bike, right?
Yeah.
And it's triggered by Apu going, and America has so many enemies. He's like, I'll sell secrets to our enemies. He knows exactly straight out the gate.
I can't believe they did this joke with Apu where he said,
Dude.
America has so many enemies, Iran, Iraq, and all the undesirable immigrants, everyone who came
after
off
me.
me, including my children.
Yeah,
Ugh.
like there's almost a good joke there about how everyone in America is immigrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except the Native Americans. There's a joke there.
Yeah, totally.
But it really just came out like more racism against Apu being an Indian stereotype, da-da-da-da. Especially in the light of this whole thing now. Maybe because this was like years ago, wasn't
I
it?
felt this was a little more relevant to what's going on now. It's framed in the work of trying to stop illegal immigration, but they're just kind of expanding it to all immigration. It's
Well,
troubling.
yeah, the use of the word undesirable was particularly
Yeah,
irksome.
very Trumpy.
The thing is, they've done such a good immigration episode with Apu before.
Yeah.
And it worked really well. It was funny and it was touching. Whereas this had no sense of irony to it.
Yeah.
That was my problem. He said it so straight and it was not given enough focus as a comment that it just came off as very awkward.
But just to the repeating plot lines, we've done someone trying to exploit Homer to get nuclear secrets before, way back in like season 1 or 2. That
Oh, the Albanian
kid who switches with Bart.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'd forgotten about that.
Well, I haven't. Simpsons
Yeah.
writers.
Play count. How many times before tonight have you seen this episode?
I didn't think I had until about the halfway point when I recognized the whole traitorism bit. So
All right.
once.
Nunce.
Yeah, not before. Never.
I've seen this
Never
a bunch
again.
before. I generally like season 22. I think this is probably the best season out of the HD
We've had some
era.
good ones from this one, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. From season 22, we've had 500 Keys.
Yes. Yeah.
The Nedliest Catch, with Ned and Edna.
Yeah.
And the Great Simpsino, where Lisa becomes a
Yeah.
magician.
Not a bad one.
Yeah.
But there have been some
Interesting.
clunkers as well, BT. You didn't like the Scorpion's tail.
No, I did not.
When everyone's eyes pops out.
That was a great episode to listen to, though.
All right, guys, so let's talk about some of the wacky moments of this episode. What were some of the cartoony elements that stood out to you?
Oh, I've got one.
Yeah?
When Bart Skypes onto Lisa's computer and he's like, "Oh, don't minimize me, don't minimize me, don't minimize me," and he screams, "I'm not going to do this."
Computers don't work like that.
I know, it's so wacky. But also, come on, man. Cheap joke. Why are we doing this? We are just filling time here.
A lot of this was filling.
And then
time.
he just,
Yeah.
he's like, "Just come into the room." No, that's my Lisa voice, apparently. Just come into the room.
It was flawless the first time. I don't
Thank
know
you.
why changed.
They showed the closed door, and then he was in the room. Did not have an open door sound effect or sequence or anything. He's just like, "Yeah, I was in the room all along." Maybe Skyping from right behind you.
Skype is coming from inside the house.
It
Yes.
was too late.
The VoIP call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
Modern jokes. Anyway.
I do actually like the joke where Homer can draw his eye to put in the retinal scanner.
Oh yeah, that was
that was
great.
pretty good, yeah.
It then went for the second bite of him showing his nipple and getting zapped with a laser.
I liked that.
It made me think about Homer's nipples, and I don't want to do that.
I think the first bit was enough. It was funny because
Yeah.
you're like, yes, his eye is drawn with one line in a circle.
Yeah.
And again, that's not how computers work. He wouldn't just be able to have to plug the USB in.
Yeah.
You got to do some
Yes.
computer stuff.
Let's
Thank you.
assume it's a hacky spy USB that does it all for you.
Yeah, we
somehow.
did grow up in the 90s where everybody could hack, and it was like that. So
Quick, just type really quickly.
And say stuff like rerouting encryptions and such.
But no, the database is moving too fast.
it's actually amazing that our generation can do so much tech support because based on our media, we don't know or understand any of it.
No. So, any other wacky elements you want to point out?
Okay, I like the joke of Willie taking a bath in the garbage bin.
Yeah.
But then it's immediately
Then it's
followed
ruined.
up by a bad joke where he's like, "Oh, I thought you were the school playground ghost." "Oh, I'm not. I'm Bart Simpson, Willie. You know me."
How could you forget me, the actual ghost?
It's like, I thought this was going to be like maybe the start of another plot thread where Willie's like, working hard never gets you nothing. And then Homer doesn't give him the bikes. Then he goes back to
Yes. Chekhov. Why the
Yeah.
fuck was Willie in it at all?
Willie. Yeah, Chekhov's gun. Nice.
That would have actually been better if it was like a bit more low stakes. Like he
Yeah.
got secrets from Willie about the school that he was blackmailing Skinner with, maybe.
Turns out Willie is a double agent. He's a Scottish agent or something, you know?
Scotland has no nuclear power.
But we're trained to start. That was
Yeah.
the best Scottish accent I'm ever going to do.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's probably the episode's biggest problem. It goes such high stakes, it doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, we got up really high really quickly. How do I get down? How do I get down? How do I get help?
And this is my problem, though. I feel like the new episodes are kind of being animated with a terrible strain to the animators' wrists, like as they go, because they can't ever back down from these stupid plot lines that they give themselves.
Yeah.
Well, we have noticed a concept in recent weeks that's only just sort of clicked with me is that, like, back in the old days, like, they had to cheap out on the animation. It was expensive, so the writing was that much better.
More
See, now,
important.
it's easier to animate and they can do these, like, wacky bits, but the writing isn't there, so they do feel so hollow, even though they look objectively better than the old days.
Yes, they do.
And yeah, just on the wackiness there as well, I fucking hated Ghost Kid.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Also, the implication that Willie has
Just
flat out
murdered
murdered a
a
child,
child.
not by accident, like by choice, because he's
it
smart
was your
now.
smart mouth.
Yeah, just fucking raked him,
Yeah.
and not in a good way.
I was just having the thought while we're talking.
The listeners at home are making the gesture to Elliot of, what is a good raking?
Oh,
the Jackie
Beach, when
Chan
you
face.
know, you know.
Sorry.
I just had the thought, we're doing like 80s revivalist episode, and there's a scene with a child on a bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't do the child on a bicycle 80s bit. We need to be him escaping from cops on a
Yeah.
bicycle, you know?
He did try to get away from the CIA.
Yeah, but there was like less than a second of him bicycling, and then he's in the car. He
Wacky
needs-
bit. I like the French Bureau investigations.
Oh.
Yeah, that was kind of
Yeah,
cute.
except they were smelly and smoking and wearing stripes. And
They're French.
What about the
Yeah,
A-Team
good
of
point.
Finland?
Okay.
Don't mess with B.A. Backstrom. Yes, you guys liked it.
He giggled, I'm off the hook. No, but like the bicycle
Sorry.
should have gone through like back lots and
Yeah.
You're thinking of
ramps
Stranger
and
Things-esque bike
Ah.
runaway.
ET scenes,
Yeah.
you know?
The way I describe, if someone's like, oh, would I like Stranger Things? I go, it depends. How do you feel about kids on bikes running from adults?
For real.
Because that's the type of movie it is. It is that exactly.
Bam.
Like Super 8.
Like
Yeah.
Super 8.
Yeah.
Like ET. Like the 80s.
Yeah, I'm going to put money that they're going to do a Stranger Things in Treehouse of Horror 29.
Yeah. So, bottom line, not enough bicycles in this movie. Especially considering he was riding a bicycle in order to earn a bicycle.
Bikes powered the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I liked it or not, so somebody can help me decide.
did.
The opening line where Milhouse is going, well, that's why me and Nana are now taking a break. Like, what?
Dumpty, what? What the?
Yeah.
What?
Did you hear that?
No.
I kind of liked it. It's like, it's just Milhouse
Milhouse,
problems.
yeah.
They're always weirdly complex
Yeah.
and yet also incredibly nerdy. So even his own Nana is like, look, you're just too needy.
So look, especially in comparison to the overall bits, which I thought was so dragged out.
Yep.
I could turn it off.
Yep.
So crap. But like in comparison, that joke I thought was good because it didn't draw attention to itself. It makes you ask questions rather than giving you too much information.
True.
Yeah.
But it is bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Wacky moment that I hated, the Chinese fluffy toy weapons.
Oh, yeah.
We're made in China.
Yeah.
I can see that, Elliot, you kind of liked it.
I liked the electrified bunny.
Yeah, I was
I
about
thought
to
that
say.
was a
Yeah.
good mystery. But the flaming dog food, I was like, come on.
Yeah, I didn't like those 3 beats.
Yeah.
But I did like when Homer goes, Bart's got secrets on his flash drive in here, but I've got secrets in here. And the other guy and the Chinese guys are like, is he threatening us? I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah, so their involvement, the Chinese intelligence agency, what'd you guys think of that?
Okay, I need to ask, do you think any of them were even voiced by, like, anyone from Asia?
Yes, Michael Paul Chu was one of the voices.
I was about to say, I checked guest stars really quick, but like, what was he doing?
He's been in something you know, but
Was he voicing all 3 of the Asian guys?
No.
no. You could very much tell one of them was doing his, what do you call it?
Darndest.
Racist.
Yeah, that's the problem. I was listening to it going, are they just redoing the Apu issue?
A little bit.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't read my own notes. It's Michael Paul Chan.
Which character did he voice?
His name is Chinese Agent.
Well, yeah, it was going to be.
Sorry, I'm reading this off IMDb. Oh, he's in Arrested Development. He's the judge in that. Judge Ping.
Yep. Oh, wait, he's in Falling Down. Oh, that's a great movie.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, Falling Down.
Yeah, with Michael Douglas.
Yes.
Yeah, so good.
Where Michael Douglas like misses his bus, so he gets a flamethrower and then torches the local Quickie Mart.
I mean, not inaccurate, but also inaccurate.
All right, so how about the heart of this episode? It was definitely going for the bumps.
Had some moments of that 80s sitcom vibe, but I just didn't stick to that
man.
format well enough to really land it.
When come on, man! When he sold the secrets and he woke up cuddling his bike, then he went downstairs and Homer had bought him the bike.
That was
Yeah,
such
that
a
was-
good turn of
80s,
scenes.
boom! 80s in the heart, in the spleen.
I will give it that. And then he's sadly riding the bike around the yard.
But I thought they did that story build up so well. Like, I loved Bart's faking bonding with Homer. Like, I thought that led to a great montage where...
I like the bumper cars.
Yeah.
Very Homer and Bart bonding.
Yeah.
Fuck, what else did they do in that scene?
There was them skimming rocks in their backyard and it was straight into Flanders' window.
Old Man Flanders, yeah.
Old Man Flanders.
And yeah, as they were like doing the run through the baseball and they get tasered and like as they pass out, they've both got a little smile on their face. It was so fucking cute.
Neither of them were naked. They should have been naked in that. Not in an obscene way, in a tasteful way.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Streaking across the baseball.
Yeah. That's fun. The whole family can enjoy.
There's plenty of times when they've both been naked.
Let's go for
like
a father-son
Bart
streak.
running out of the bath in season 1 and him chasing down the stairs.
Yeah.
Those were
Classic.
good
That was
times.
good child nudity.
Actually, and speaking of how they were sort of playing with the tropes of, anyway.
Quick, isolate that.
Speaking of the problematic tropes, so when Homer's choking Bart and then he has the thought bubble, now Homer. I thought that was a great story turn as well.
I do like that he's choking with one hand and having the kind of thoughtful moment with the other hand. Like,
But I never knew fatherhood could affect a child.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, am I wrong? Did you guys not like how the story of that played out, or with the heart? Sorry.
I think it was okay, but like I said, I think the fundamental thing that Bart was doing was so calculated and so criminal that it made it a little bit...
I'm going to say, if you're going to land a heart moment, you have to do it in third act, because if you do it in second, I'm going to forget about it. It's going to get erased by what happens next.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense, because the heart act of Homer saving Bart from China did not hit. Like, it didn't work, really.
Yeah.
Well, because it never, it wasn't like Bart was being held hostage until Homer did something.
Yeah.
Bart was never in danger. It never felt like it, at least
and
anyway.
Homer catches up to the plot without any prompting whatever.
Yeah.
He's just, I know what's going on all of a sudden. And it's like, how? Why? Why did you even follow him?
Ooh, I like that line, though. Why would a child be going to the zoo?
Yeah, so anything else to say about the heart?
I feel like I know what you're saying when you say this is a good episode, but I feel like the right answer is this almost is a good episode. This could have been a good episode.
It needs a rewrite.
Yeah.
Like I said at the top, I think it hits the right story beats. It just miffs a lot of the jokes. And
For real, man. Like, we were just talking about that bit where one hand was strangling and the other hand was thinking, and I thought that was a really good shot. But the part before it, when he was on the hammock and he was trying to kind of give advice and Bart was really and I was just like, oh, this is killing me to watch. Oh, God.
yeah, it was a slower, more boring
The
episode.
pacing of, like, Bart chucking a tanty that he didn't get his dirt bike when he was in the... No, my friends are going to hate me now because I don't...
Yeah,
I could see what they were doing, and yet it just didn't catch me.
fair enough. There is one other heart moment I'd like to point out, is that I loved how horny Marge got when Homer was like, I just told Bart that he couldn't have something that he wanted, and then she was like really impressed, like, oh my
Yes.
God, you're being a father for once.
I love that. I did love that.
She's learnt how to, like, reward good behavior.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I felt like. Like, he's doing something good and he just needs to give the reward.
You know
like
what?
training
And
a
that's
dog.
almost how I'm feeling about this episode. It did the right thing story-wise, and I'm like, I want to reward it. I want to fuck it. Just a little.
And we're back.
Yeah. But I feel like that gets ruined immediately by, I hope the kids didn't hear. And then Ned's like, well, maybe your kids didn't, but we've been standing here staring at you fuck through the window for the past 10 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
why is that? Why is he standing there? Why are they still there?
And it's too late to turn that mod picture around. She's
Yeah.
already seen it all.
It's over, man.
But ultimately, though, guys, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
No one's wrong.
Oh,
but
yes.
I just...
Come on, who's off character?
I'm not saying off character. I'm saying the whole vibe in general.
Well,
fair enough.
And they were going for, like, Family Matters or, it's all in the family
which,
house
again, I wish
matters.
I just stuck harder too. But I mean, I also appreciate this is an episode where Homer helps build and destroy a nuclear plant in 20 seconds. Not even that.
They did miff the ending.
They miffed it so hard it really drags it. Because my notes, as I progress through for each ad break, first one just says tumbleweed. Second one just says now it's dumb. And the third one just says now it sucks.
Great routine, but she didn't stick that landing.
Yep. If I know one thing about gymnastics, it's all about the landing.
Well, I do feel like Bart was off character fundamentally. And for example, little things like him studying and succeeding in the test. I mean, we've had
Yeah.
him study really hard and he's just not smart enough.
Oh, and
he
then after
tries.
the test, he knows a bit.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
that genuinely heartbreaking moment where he's like, "This is the best I can do," and I still
Yeah.
failed.
Exactly.
And oh my god, does
Yeah.
that hurt?
And like that was such a part of Bart's character, is that even when he tries, it's really hard for him. And that's why he falls back
Yeah.
into this like misbehaving, like shitty behavior, because he's not that capable. And so the fact that he just spent what seemed to be maybe like a day studying
yeah.
and he got an A, you kind of go, you little lazy shit. Like, why don't you just do this more often?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, I guess that's sort of what I like, is that he's properly motivated. And I mean, I get what you're saying. And, you know, Bart Gets an F is such a complex fucking character study that, yeah, they're never going to hit those days again.
No.
But it wasn't totally off point.
Yeah, I'm not
It
gonna say
wasn't.
it's not enough removed from a Simpsons ever to say it doesn't feel like one. It's just there are some problems.
Yeah, I mean, Homer getting swept up in the new thing that he likes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Homer was quite good.
Yeah.
Homer was like a good
Yeah,
version of himself.
at the beginning of this, I'm like, when he's really watching the episode and they're spending so long just focused on the episode.
Yeah.
Trying to be a
of,
good dad? That's such a Homery thing. Trying. Like, maybe I can be a good dad. I could be a human being.
Well, that's sort of some subtext with this episode, that both Bart and Homer are sort of
Right.
Yeah.
seeing the light.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because they hadn't had it explained to them in this way that the message never got through to them before.
They never
And-
had it explained to them in sitcom format.
Yeah. That was my best impression of a sitcom audience. There's
No.
not enough of me.
What was that line? That like, what was that meta? What was that meta-referential line where they were like, the only reason this show's been on the air for 30 years is
Yeah.
because the director has blackmail evidence against Fox's.
That was too specific. Yeah, they had evidence that network president ran over a guy. That's like, that's too specific. We're watching you, Simpsons creators. But yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Nah, probably not.
I would. I would.
I would watch it when I'm teaching my class how to fix The Simpsons.
Ooh.
Because this is a
Ouch.
great example of getting halfway.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, it's a good almost.
yeah.
Well, I'd watch it again and I'd put it in a playlist. What playlist are we going to watch with this?
Selling secrets to terrorists.
Yeah, there's
Nice.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, do put it with Bart Gets an F. You know, Bart trying and failing at school and stuff.
Homer's whole-assed parenting.
Yep.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, sorry, one more. Marge being horny.
Oh,
Snuggle episodes.
Oh, yeah.
good horny Marge, because much like a lot in the HD, they myth horny Marge a lot, but this is good horny Marge.
Oh, any horny Marge is good horny Marge.
Devil wears nada.
Nice.
Oh, wow. For the wrong person and the wrong reasons, and everything's wrong about that.
All right, we're almost at the end of this segment. So, BT, what would you change about this episode?
Again, so many things we've already covered. I think I would have that bit with Willie makes sense. Maybe he helps Bart cheat, and that's how he gets the A. So then you have like a double layer of Bart hasn't quite done the right thing, but he still wants the reward. But
Yeah.
then there's another teaching moment in that. Change the entire third act. It gets too high stakes too quickly. So keep it in Springfield and with the characters we
Yeah.
know. Maybe
Yeah.
Homer finds out about the cheating. There's something to be had there, and it bugs me a lot. As good as he gets the bike, but then Homer gives him the bike moment is. I don't think it's worth it for the stupidly dizzying stakes we get to.
Yeah.
Jeez, and just add some more laughs. There's some. I did not chuckle enough. It's hard to say. You need more funny, but yeah, you need more funny.
All right, how about you, Claire? What would you like to change about this episode?
Well, going to Beej's point, I think the funniness should have been derived from a few jokes rather than the wackiness that they keep, interjecting.
Sure.
Because it took it out of the story too much and at really random moments, like the very moving moment of Bart coming down and actually getting the present from Homer. He had this weird little dream about being beaten up by the Statue of Liberty and then an eagle bursting from his chest, and
Yeah, I
it-
didn't dig that.
it didn't work, and it undermined and made you forget like you said, the very touching moment a few seconds before, and you started going, what's going on?
Yeah, actually, sorry, just to quickly bring it back to me before your drawn-in breath can come out. There's just so much fill in this episode, and it really bugs me. There was a long intro, there was a long couch gag, there was this long outro with Inside the Actor's Studio. It ends like 3 times.
Yeah.
And it has stuff like when Bart sees the bike, he goes, I think I just found the thing I'm going to die on. And that was funny. But then it has this long fantasy sequence of him launching himself into space and his eyes exploding.
Yeah.
And then you have that long fantasy sequence, the Statue of Liberty beating him up. And it's like, there's just so much fill here. It really bugs me.
Yep. You have something to say, Shag.
You may exhale now.
He picks up the flash drive. Chinese catch him. Homer saves him. Homer goes to China. Blah, 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 blah. cut all that. What we need is a big chase sequence where the Chinese are trying to catch him. He's on the bike because they don't use the bike for anything. That's where we get our 80s bike scene as well. He's on his bike. He's escaping from the Chinese. Hijinks ensues. He does all the 80s motifs. He has to go in front of the moon at some point.
Goes past two guys carrying a glass panel across a road.
He can. That's not 80s, but he can. He has to go through construction site and go over like ramps and shit. Has to go in front of the moon. He ends up back at his door maybe, and Homer like saves the day because him and the Chinese end up back at his door at the same time. Then Homer opens the door and he's the big stern, and suddenly it's here. Anyway, the other thing that has to happen, he's on the bike and he goes over a ramp or something, and then it echoes the dream sequence of him going up into space like he's about to have his eyes popped, but it turns out he's being grabbed by like a grabber claw or something. He's going up because you got to have it tie back to the dream sequence, which was long and pointless, and
and as we give it point and merit.
Bam!
Even a little throwaway line of "I didn't want to die on it" or something like this thing I'm going to die on.
I never thought I'd die on it so soon.
Yeah.
There's a bit in Adventure Time where Jake foreshadows his death, and then it comes true, but it doesn't because it's part of he misinterpreted the dream sequence. That's a thing where you have the foreshadow of the future, and then it happens at the end, but it's not a death. It's etc.
You were just watching Final Destination,
This is some great stuff, guys. Like, fucking.
I can't wait to edit this all out later.
That's a real great job, guys. Real great job. We're gonna put a pin in that.
No, I can't add anything like useful to what I'd change about it because.
What would you change, Elliot?
Oh, the only thing I do is because I liked in our discussion that we. Mentioned that Willie's involvement was pointless, and it would have been better to see a low stakes school episode. And you're right. We should have tied the bike into it somehow. So I'd say combining those ideas, low stakes school espionage with, I don't know, Bart on a bike being chased by Seymour Skinner in his Honda,
That's how you know it's a Honda.
Oh, that's right. Superintendent Chalmers had the Honda. So Skinner's got like an even worse car. So like Bart only gets away because the fucking thing breaks down. It writes itself. Guest stars of the episode. Yes, you mentioned we had James Lipton doing his Inside the Actors Studio thing. What did you guys think of that button?
James Lipton's always delightful, but I didn't like what they did with him.
Yeah.
Oh, him being the Lizzie? I thought that was funny.
I know, that was funny, but then he does that weird lean into the camera at the end. It was like, I didn't like the animation on him. I did like the way he said things.
Well, I didn't like Digby Sheridan going, "Oh, I slept with everybody in the cast, including the dog."
Yeah.
Very strange.
But James Lipton is just a class act all around.
But I thought he saved it, though, with, as Matthew Perry says, that's too much information, or whatever the quote is. I don't watch Friends. What does Matt Perry say, Claire?
Too much information.
Right. Oh.
So 80s sounding.
Yeah. What's his other quote? I've got a fucking monkey.
Could I be any more of a blank?
Oh, he's good. Beej, you are the 80s pinnacle. 90s?
Hey,
90s.
sit on it.
Wasn't that his co-star? Oh, wait, no, that's Matt LeBlanc.
That's what you put a drink on.
Hey! We'll be right back.
Quality entertainment, all for free. Sponsor us, Coasters.
Apparently, Gary Marshall was in this episode, and he must have been playing Digby, actually.
He was playing Sheldon Leavitt, actually, at the end of the episode where he goes, "Yeah, that's good enough. Let's go home." Whatever, back to the show.
And David Mamet as well made a little cameo.
Good for David.
Oh, yeah.
Nice to see him getting work.
Yeah.
Bleep, 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 bleep.
That's pretty good. I could use that.
Yeah.
I do like that as a little line.
Yeah, they were good guest stars. And Michael Paul Chan as well, playing a Chinese intelligence agent. As such a complex character. All right, and musical moments. Yeah, look, I loved how they kept interjecting the Thicker Than Waters theme song into the episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And yeah, I've got it in my head now. The friendships matter.
I really liked Homer singing at the end.
Yeah.
I feel like by these later seasons, they've gotten a bit too indulgent. They're just like, we love hearing Homer sing.
Yeah.
Like Castellaneta's gotten really good at doing the Homer voice and singing, which is hard to do a voice and sing it. But I feel like they lean on that a little. But I loved it.
Can I ask something? When Homer's got the magazine
Yeah.
and he's writing in to like get his collectible plates,
Yeah.
does he go to the World Trade Center?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I think I heard that and I was just like, ooh.
They're like, Homer, that's a 20-year-old magazine. They're not going to have anything. Oh, they will. World Trade Plaza wine. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad
I-
I didn't mishear that because I'm like, that's very cringy.
This was them going, get it? It's funny. It's the place where 3,000 people died. Comedy.
This is a great time to bring it up in this episode about Bart selling secrets to
Yeah.
terrorists.
Yeah. All right, guys.
So weird.
So we're almost at the end, but I need to ask you if you have any more notes. We'll start with you, BT.
I do appreciate, and I felt like you would as well, when they're watching Thicker Than Water, it has the correct aspect ratio for an 80s sitcom on a current flat screen television.
That is a good... I didn't notice that.
You who notices aspect ratio no matter where.
And I flip a shit when it's wrong.
You do. I've seen you go to the neighbors and correct their aspect ratio. And I also like when Bart and Homer hug and Bart's like, he's buying it. And Homer's like, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I got a chuckle out of. But, my only last note was so much Phil, but I already said that.
Yep, fair enough. How about you, Claire? Any other notes?
My only thing is I miss the days when Itchy and Scratchy episodes used to reference the A-Line story from it. Like,
Yeah, they clearly had a Itchy and Scratchy cartoon ready to go to put into a short
Well, this
episode.
was one of the show's 5 endings. Is that I thought we were going to end on Itchy and Scratchy. Like, no, we have 3 more to get through.
And it wasn't actually a bad Itchy and Scratchy episode. I liked it.
But it was just
But it had
out of
nothing
place.
to do with anything, and it was.
But it was such a good misdirect as well when they make Scratchy swallow the bees and you're like expecting the bees to start stinging him. But they just build a hive and make a hive out of Scratchy.
Oh, poor Scratchy.
And then he gets opened by a bear like.
Just like Winnie the Pooh.
How about you, Danny? Any other notes?
One director was called Sheldon Leavitt. I felt like they were making a gag on a phrase "Sheldon Leave It," like 80s characters famous from leaving a thing.
Sure.
I don't know. Sheldon Leavitt felt strangely pointy.
I liked how they kept putting it in the episode, like Homer's fantasy
it was
sequence was
everywhere.
credited to Sheldon Leavitt, and then the end of the episode was as well.
I wonder if that was about someone leaving a certain sitcom. Doesn't matter. Who cares?
It's like they're trying to say to Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, leave it.
Oh,
You're better than this show.
Sheldon, get
leave
the
it.
fuck out, bro. Has anyone been watching Young Sheldon?
Fuck no.
Good to hear.
It's that weird thing where you will never meet a person who has, and yet its ratings are high.
Yeah.
Isn't that the thing? The other thing, of course, is that they seem to have swapped to a flat screen TV, but they haven't got it on a table anymore. Now it's on the floor. And they still have the weird bunny ears, the bent bunny ears from their old TV.
I think it's usually is mounted, but it was only on the floor on that one, so Homer could sit, lying on his stomach, daydreamily watching TV.
So he took the TV down off the
Yes.
wall, so he could do that.
Yes.
I like his commitment to shtick.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the HD couch gags as well, the TV falls off the wall and you see it's still got the red, white, and yellow plugs,
Ooh.
not HDMI like we have
Dude
now.
needs to buy a
It's
new
fancy.
DVD player.
It's pronounced hood me.
Head me, yep. All right, time for my final notes.
Pew, pew, pew. Wait, sorry. Keep
That's
going.
rapid notes. This is final notes.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm dropping the whole gun thing because, guns are gross.
Yeah, but no more than they've always been.
That's true.
Okay.
I always thought of it more as a laser.
Oh, yeah.
That's some fucking dope-ass laser sounds.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
That's better.
That's really good, actually. Yeah, Kent's corrections. Yeah, corrections doesn't have a K, it has a C. We apologize. I like that. I like at the start as well how they turn on the sitcom and Lisa's like eyes are kind of glazed over like, ugh, this is shit.
Yeah, but he's looking so excited, like, ooh, what's going to happen next?
Yeah. Really played with the characters well in this episode. And Homer going, ooh, I like the executive producing and the line producing, but most of all the co-producing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, what do producers actually do?
I don't know. What do you do?
Shh. He's on to me. Marge is ironing the garbage bags. That was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, that was cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bart recounts a classic line from the Bullies. To the library.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think that was intentional.
No, probably not.
I liked him not knowing where the library was, though. Kind of walking around and back and forth in the background, being like,
Yeah.
which way is the
Yeah.
library?
No, that was a great gag. But yeah, I'm assuming Simpsons will repeat themselves unknowingly and like, the Simpsons will go on long enough that they'll accidentally rewrite the works of Shakespeare.
Yeah, you take the first word from every single episode and you have Hamlet.
Look it up, people. He's right. Another musical moment that I liked is the theme song for Upscalion in the House.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was such a
Yeah.
good, like,
Will
Fresh Prince.
Smithy
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of.
Yeah. There once was an alien coming from the earth. And then Homer's like beatboxing along with it.
Bad show.
All right.
Oh.
Not as bad as Supreme Courtney.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrible.
Ngang, ngang, ngang.
6 seasons in a movie.
I liked that joke. I didn't like the I lost Lucy joke, though.
No.
Yeah, that was
No.
pretty poor.
Yeah, Lucy Ball was good.
Yeah.
They need to lay off her. They are constantly just taking digs at her.
For such an icon of television, it makes sense to then rip on that, but it's a little too much now.
Be nice though. Like you can reference, but
Play
you know,
nice,
just
boys.
You big bullies.
Clamshell Lucy is fine.
Yeah.
Digging up her bones is not.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Homer puts vodka into a humidifier. That looks like
Yeah.
fun.
We're all thinking about that, aren't we? Yeah.
Yes. I've got a sleep apnea machine. I'm wondering what it will do.
Pretty sure that'll kill
That
you.
will kill you.
There's only one way to find out. Bart's license plate was TR8OR.
Yep.
Very close to the stormtrooper that in The Force Awakens that the fans
Yeah.
renamed TR8R.
Yeah.
The one that yells out to Finn, traitor! And then
Yep.
pulls out that fucking wicked baton with electric on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shag, you weirdly called that he was going to put the flash drive into the panda exhibit.
Yeah, man, because it's being
China.
blatantly childish with its racist tropes about China. And if they're anywhere near a zoo, well, what's the most Chinese thing in a zoo?
I thought they would actually hand it directly to the panda.
Yeah, I thought he was going to hand it to the panda. Then the panda takes off its hood, and it's like the Chinaman in disguise.
The Chinaman.
Yeah, because it's been a racist episode.
Wow. Wow.
I actually would have liked it, but then he's like being a panda completely wrong. Like, ook, ook, do you have the flash drive? Like, do pandas ook? Nay.
And then Bart like realizing, I wouldn't trade it for all the tea in China. I actually kind of liked that, even though it was a bit on the nose.
It was just a little too forced because Bart would literally never say
What are you
that.
talking? That's his classic catchphrase. Don't have tea in China, man.
I like how Marge was like really psyched about her summer squash as well. Just reminds me how much she thinks potatoes are just neat. Great Marge moment. And my final... Oh no, that was my final note. It is time to rank this thing!
Etc.
On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. But maybe the episode was just meh, you give a participant. But for the good rankings, you got good, bronze, great, silver, excellent, gold. But for the best, of the very best, the ones that you'd sell secrets to another government for, you give those episodes cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. I'm giving this one a silver. Like, honestly, I really,
Wow.
I would love to actually give this one gold, but it's just
Wow.
undeniable.
Wow.
It just miffs so many moments. Like, there are so many cringy jokes, so many fundamental problems that we keep seeing over and over again in this era, but honestly, the one thing that it's got going for it for me is its story and its heart, and I think they do all that enough for me to at least give it a silver medal ranking. Claire, you're next.
Uh-oh. I'm going to say participant.
Wow, really?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't really laugh at it. I can see what it was going for, but I don't feel like it actually got there. So,
Yeah.
sorry, episode. You tried your best, and
Well-
you failed.
Danny, you're next.
I think I'm actually going to go... I'm going to do a silver as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck is wrong with you people? I mean, I love you both.
I did think it had an interesting, good story beats. I think all the characters were being themselves. I think it had a good 80s vibe. I think it didn't do them right. That's why it's not a gold and it's not a cubic. If it did what it said in the script and made it good, that would have been a great episode. As it was, it's a silver episode.
Fair enough. BT, finish it off.
Well, I walked into this room on a fail.
Thank you. Me too. Oh
Really?
My God.
Yeah,
We had
because
so much fun in the room, though.
yeah, that's because we're fun.
Yeah.
Because I hated the entire third act, and I think everything before that was pretty flat. However, in discussion and the fact that I now am not angry at it, I think I can forgive it. In terms of acts, I have participant, bronze, fail. So if I take that and average it out, it's a participant. So as much as I wanted to kick this into the pit when we walked in, I'm at a participant.
Wow. All right. Well, this will average out into being a bronze, a ranking that no one actually gave it.
Which might be the first time that's happened.
No, it's the second.
Oh, really? Wow.
This previously happened on The Squirt and the Whale, and that was the same thing. I was like really up on it, and you were like, I wanted to fail it. Where, yeah, Lisa saving the dying whale. I thought, again, that had a great story, lots of heart, just not great
that
jokes.
fucked it up.
Says you.
Says me, indeed.
But we've also had other split rankings in the average bronze. We've had silver, bronze participant with Dude, Where's My Ranch, one that we all
Yeah.
Classic.
reviewed before. Smoke on the Daughter, where Lisa
Yeah.
takes up secondhand smoking. A totally fun thing that Bart will never do again, where they go on a cruise into Antarctica. Yeah, this actually feels about right in amongst all those episodes,
Yeah, it
actually.
Yeah,
does.
just to bring it back to me for a second.
You.
I think one thing that really deserves a kick in the face for this episode is how it ends on like the writer of something unrelated going, well, I suppose that'll do. That's lunch by. It's like,
Yeah.
way to telegraph exactly the way you felt about your own episode.
That's fair enough. All right, guys, so that was the 476th episode of The Simpsons. Now we're going all the way back to the 407th episode with Husbands and Knives. We'll be back.
Woo!
And we are back, and we just watched our Teens Era episode. This was Season 19, Episode 7, Husbands and Knives. First released in November of '07, it was directed by Nancy Kruse, written by Matt Selman. In this episode, I don't even know where to begin. There's a comic book shop, and then Marge opens a gym, and then Homer gets plastic surgery. Guys, what did you think?
Wow.
I was okay with it until the third act. And then the second they were like, Homer, you got your stomach stable. Like, nope, fuck you, fuck.
Yep. What were we saying before about the episodes just turning into the fucking Homer show?
Yeah. Look, I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I actually enjoyed it more than the last episode that we watched. But cohesive storyline was non-existent.
No. Whereas the last one, it had at least had a through line of a storyline. This one fucking dropped what it was doing after every
About
act.
3 or 4 times, yeah.
Yeah.
This was a mess.
Yeah.
This was a mess. I felt like we started off watching a B plot, like the comic book thing. Was that a B plot or was that a setup to the next half of the A
Just
plot?
got fucking dropped.
It got dropped.
It was a dropped plot.
It was such a shame because I was starting to watch it and I was into it. It made sense. Like, I think you could have gotten quite a bit of material out of it.
Yeah, there were some jokes I wasn't a fan of in the first act, but like it was going somewhere.
I enjoyed the direction, yeah.
Well, let's get into it. For better or worse, what is a moment from this story that stood out to you? We'll start with you, Claire.
Very, very minor visual gag, but from Act 1 with the comics that they were going through, with the different versions of Robin.
Oh, I
really liked Holy Trinity, Batman.
Born Again Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it, and they went through all the like various characters died. Superman dies, Aquaman dies, Casper dies.
Yeah. Perfect. And it was exactly like that.
Yeah, welcome to comics.
They had some fun playing with comic tropes, like Martin and comic book guy's little argument in the store. Mm-hmm. That didn't actually happen, and then Bart's like,
None of
this shit happened.
Get out of my store.
So yeah, as far as comic book commentary, that was some of my favourite material from this episode. How about you, Danny? What is a moment from this story that stood out to you for better or worse?
For better or worse, I'm really left with the images of 3 famous comic book artist, writer, producers hovering in midair and then deciding not to save the world from a meteor as they go down to the convention center.
That was a tad silly.
It was a tad silly. Oh yeah, we should save that for the whack, but it really felt pointless. Like they were a quick, cheap way to wrap up Section A, which I didn't like as a wrap up. I didn't like that they had a really interesting storyline. Not a really interesting, but they had a storyline, and then they were just like, you know what? I'm bored of this, and we've paid these 3 guys who only agree if they get to be exciting superheroes. Or maybe they did that because they're superhero authors. Oh, fuck, whatever. It doesn't do it for me.
The last we see of them, plot-wise, is them just beating the crap out of comic book guy. That's the last we see of him as well.
Yeah, he's in hospital.
He's still out of business. His store is because he would have been hospitalized from the thing. Why was his shop then out of business? Surely that.
I got a bigger question for you. Marge is still a successful gym owner. Gym owner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Highly successful.
Yeah.
So they don't reset any of that.
Nope.
Like, because Marge's thing is not something that comes up again, and that's I'm going to say the moment from the story that stood out to me. At least the second act tied into that event from the first act where comic book guy's shop was shut and Marge had a problem and that fixed it. That is actually something I liked, but the fact that Coolsville and Jack Black's character never get brought up again pissed me off.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I was just thinking then. Why would you do the "it's all a dream" sequence to retcon Act 3 rather than to retcon all 3 acts? Why would you be like, oh, we're going back to Act 2 where everything
was
still
going
doesn't
really
make
well.
sense?
Yeah, she could have just had a throwaway line going, I didn't like that my success was making you so insecure, homie. I wouldn't have really appreciated that as a close, but at least it's some sort of close. That was quick.
Would have sucked to say, I'm going to give up what's working for me for you, which is nice, but also
But it is a
very
very Marge
sad.
thing to do.
Yeah, so as much as it would have felt a little empty, it would have at least made sense and reset things.
Yeah, but if the episode even spent more time with any of the elements it was going for, one of these stories could have been satisfying, but they just fucking drop shit all over the place. Anyway, what about you, BT? What is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
I'm going to throw quickly to a throwaway joke that wasn't a big part, but I think it's a good example of how to do something like that because I have a lot of criticism here. So I'm going to go on to positives. When Marge is on Oprah ripoff,
Opal. Ugh.
they talk about her boyfriend, straight man, and it's like, and without going into like a screeching halt, see, she's never actually revealed she's actually in a relationship, and that's why she's made up this guy and called him straight man. It just, from the name alone, you get that joke set up. So I like that as a way of delivering what could have been a terrible grind to a halt, look at this stupid bit joke, isn't Oprah single forever, ha. Whereas it's just did it with a name. And that's probably the most favorable thing I have to say.
Yeah, but then it undercuts itself with her going, everyone gets cuckoo clocks.
That wasn't the worst thing. I was hoping for bees, as is my favorite GIF of all time. GIF Oprah bees, everybody.
As much as I try to find the best Simpsons GIFs, I will never have a GIF better than that GIF. All right, so we'll get into all that in a moment. But play count. How many times have you seen this episode before tonight?
I haven't seen it.
I feel like I've seen parts. I've definitely seen the Watchmen Babies V for Vacation.
Oh, isn't that great?
Yeah, that's very good. But the rest of it, I don't remember. I may have just forgotten or been drunk. I can't specify.
Yeah, look, this is one where it's a fever dream of an episode.
It's so disjointed that even rewatching this a week from now, I don't feel like I know where it's going to go.
It's fucking garbled, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like I've actually watched, and I think this is why I came away feeling pleasant about it instead of really angry, even though I should feel angry, because I feel like I've watched 3 parts of like 3 different episodes and didn't finish any of them. And all of them had things in it that I liked and I wanted to see more of. So I almost feel like I've seen 3 stories, but only part of them.
Yeah,
you know
like, and when we go back to watch the next episode, it'll just be the conclusion of those 3 stories.
Yeah, and then I'd be fine. Like, everything would be great.
So how about the wackiness of this episode, which will take up the bulk of our conversation today?
Jeez, I mean, a lot of it gets retconned as being dream, to be fair, but it's also fucking stupid as shit. Like when Homer starts crying out of his goddamn nipples.
I don't know where my tear ducts are.
And then the second Marge is all like, well, I don't want you anymore, Homer. You're like, okay, this is a dream.
Yeah.
Like, just end it already. I don't even know why we're doing this.
And so climbing up Notre Dame of Springfield, that's like a Hunchback reference.
Yep.
It clearly should have been a King Kong reference.
Yeah.
Fucking what are they doing? I wrote a Notre Dame Springfield script back in high school.
Really?
Gasp.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was
felt,
better
I felt
than
a bit
this
more
one.
Frankenstein, I think, to me.
Yeah, but Frankenstein would have been fine.
I really would have liked if they did some like body horror elements. Like they said he's got wadded up, rolled up socks in his muscles. Like if he flexed and they just popped out or something.
Think about, you want to see socks pop out of Homer's body. This is what you're telling me right now. You want to
You
see
don't know what you want, Elliot.
gym socks popping out of Homer Simpson's deformed torso. What have you become?
It should have ended up with Absurdist Body Horror Nightmare, though. If they're doing dream sequence, isn't
go
it
for
always supposed to go like way in
To the nth degree,
Ooh, here's the moral. And suddenly he's looking down as his body like falls into Lego pieces, and he's like, "Oh no, Zinc, come back, Zinc!"
Other wackiness is when Homer has pegged back all his fat with more pegs.
Yes,
They've done this joke before with
Yeah.
Ken Brockman.
Yes.
Although I think it wasn't fat.
Yeah, he's gotten so skinny, it's just loose
It's
skin.
loose
now.
skin,
Yeah.
I
And then
I didn't
let
mind
me just put this sweaty old blanket away.
Bing part. I
Sorry.
didn't mind the first part, but that was just like, nah. A, if you guys get in the mood, why is she stopping to kind of do the laundry? B, how can she find the wardrobe with the lights out? C,
This is Marge.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Also, I wouldn't want to get busy on a sweaty old blanket.
Your husband's sweaty old skin blanket.
Sounds pretty hot to me. I do like the lead-in joke of, you remembered I like romance.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
great.
that was cute.
Also, his room was pretty blinged up. He
yeah.
did the romance thing right.
Oh, definitely.
Which, for a second, I thought that was going to be the plot point. He's going to all these lengths to be skinny and attractive
Yes.
when all he has to do is put in the effort and show he cares.
Yes.
And for a second, I'm like, good move. Oh, wait, no, now his
Yes.
fat's pegged behind his head. Okay.
Love it. I'm sold on this guy's episode.
Yeah.
Already gotten to the change question.
Oh, man, there's already so much.
You still got to find a way to wrap up the gym, though, as well.
Oh, I have that. Don't worry. Because Marge, like her gym becomes so successful that there's more pressure on her to be thin and an example of what to be. So she
Oh,
becomes the problem she was trying to solve. She
or
becomes the new
And then
body
she
image problem.
gets the
She's
stomach
so
stapling.
busy managing the gym and making everyone else healthy that she starts putting on weight from always being behind the
No,
desk.
I was going to say she's like losing weight because she's not eating. She's stressing so much, and then becomes the new
both
image
work.
of the unrealistic ideal body because
Oh,
she's now
yeah,
really thin and
yeah.
fit.
Yeah.
But she's not happy. She's doing it from working too much and missing out on life and family and all that.
Oh, I've got one. Homer gets a stomach stapling. She sees Homer get the results, and she's like, I've been at this 2 hours a day. How does he get it that quickly? And then she gets the stomach stapling.
I feel like this was one of my major problems with the episode is that it was kind of body shaming and also trying to not be, and
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
not hitting the right notes on either way.
That reminds me of the bullies. Like, hitting on Marge and then not hitting on Marge, like teasing Marge and then being like, whoa, guys, don't talk about Marge like that. She's a fine-looking honey. Yeah, just like his mom. Whoa, don't talk about my mom like that. She's a fine-looking honey. Yeah, just like Marge. It felt very confused there.
And like that was the other thing, the little jokes about his mum's depression and stuff.
Not cool.
It was just, it was kind of like in the realm of not cool. I mean, I felt already a bit shitty about the fact that very slender Marge was already unhappy about her body.
Comparing herself to fucking Wonder Woman.
A cardboard cutout of Wonder Woman.
Although if she originally had a 26, 26, 26 figure, that's...
Straight up and down.
She used to be a cylinder.
I like that little throwaway joke, but it was like trying to be, let's just accept yourself the way you are. But it also was making a lot of very miserable sort of jokes about it all.
Yeah.
At Homer's expense as well, not just at Marge's. So I didn't love the way they pulled that off.
Yeah.
No, it lacked tact.
Yeah, that's it, exactly.
So just before we leave the wackiness, just want to bring up Jack Black's role in this episode. I didn't remember his name, but it was Jack Black playing a Jack Black character.
Correct.
Pork pie hat guy.
Yes. Oh, what was with that fucking wacky-ass cutaway?
Homer has sensed someone said the word pork pie.
Oh,
That was so fucking lame.
I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it.
Really? Oh.
Because it didn't linger on it too much.
Yeah.
It was a quick cut, so it was just one little, weird.
The first thing I reacted was, they're like, oh, I bet Homer would laugh at this. Shame he's not in this story. Fuck it, who cares?
Yeah.
Let's do it anyway.
It feels lazy for that. But
Lazy.
I didn't mind it for the idea that he can sense it.
But yeah,
He can hear pudding.
that's true. So what about some other things from the Coolsville, the opening comic book shop?
I totally would have shopped there, though. Like,
Yeah?
Sucker
honest,
for indie hipster shit.
Yeah.
You like your
Yeah.
K-pop covers of Tom Jones,
Oh
John?
my God, I'd be all over that shit. I want to play it all day in my house.
I loved hate at this bit. Young Pussycat.
Yeah.
I think it went on a bit too long. I don't think
Yeah.
he needed to sing the verses.
Yeah,
Agreed.
it didn't need him running through the store singing it. It was kind of a good thing to have in the background.
Now that would have been really funny. Like him jumping on Guitar Hero and DDR at the same time.
That was fucking dope.
Yeah.
He's so hipster. All of this sort of things that are going to appeal to the youth of today and draw them away from a normal comic book shop. Blah, 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 blah. But that would have been so funny, just like if he was carrying on in the background of the normal conversation of The Simpsons, you know?
Yeah.
Look, I liked a lot of the throwaway jokes for this because it is every modern comic book store that's suddenly, geek chic.
Yeah.
We're going to invest
Yeah.
a shit ton of money in this instead of, the dank basement that we used to have. And I love the, everybody gets a free piece of Japanese hard candy. And even though it was really cringy, Lisa getting the dolphin flavored one.
Yeah.
Although, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of them gets miso candy, so that's just
Yes.
water.
No, miso is bean paste.
Yeah.
Bean paste candy. What was the other one?
Prawn.
A miso.
Prawn, yeah.
It's pretty close,
Miso
though.
and
Yeah, miso's a bean. That's a little gritty stuff in your miso soup.
Mm.
The
Well-
water is the water.
Where there's miso in my miso.
Did you miso it or?
Oh, God, guys.
terrible.
I didn't like... It's the classic trope, so I know why it was there. But Bart being like, oh, yeah? Well, let's see if you're a real fan. That's like the whole gamer girl culture thing,
the
you know?
The gatekeeping, yeah.
Gatekeeping. I don't like that shit.
Yeah, but it is the kind of thing that Bart does.
It's the kind of thing that comic book fans do.
Yeah.
I do like that he was just like, I used to have such a bad relationship with my old comic book guy, and I forgot how good it could be.
I like the turnaround where he's like, well, what do you think? And
Yes,
that's a really good
absolutely.
way to... Yeah.
And this, to me, is another reason why it's so shitty that they dropped this plot. This could have been so much bigger, and this guy going up against comic book guy, trying to win Bart's affection,
Comic book, learning a lesson and coming back to the table and things.
Yeah.
So much better than running in and starting a fight and then being written out seconds later.
Ooh, and change the episode. It ends up becoming a thing where, this guy is interacting with you, Bart, because he wants you to buy more shit. And notice, you've bought more stuff that you don't need at his store than you ever did at mine.
Yes.
I don't even like these comic book characters, but why do I have so much merch? Yeah, that kind of thing.
Comic book guy going to Marge's gym to try and get healthy and win back respect of,
Who would have
Look
to
what I
dress
did
as-
for you, Bart.
Have to dress as a woman, but that'd be weird.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, we could work around that. The women only gym thing.
Put a pin in that.
Yeah,
and
we'll come back.
So the other thing I wanted to mention that I hated about this section before we move on is that in that thing where Bart was like, oh, who would win? He went the Palport way of going Thung or Mulk. And it's like, you've already had several references to real characters.
Yeah.
Why are you Palporting now?
Also, it's always Hulk and Thor, not Thing.
Or Spider-Man and Hulk now. There's a
There's a
matchup.
good one.
Spider-Man has successfully knocked out the Hulk.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
You got to go.
But, okay, one joke that I kind of mostly hated from this was when Comic Book Guy came in and it was like, he's not one of us, he's got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I hated that line, but then I liked her because her name's Strawberry and she has a lunchbox for a bag. And I'm like, yep, that's it. That's 100% everyone I know.
I
in the
was
comic book store.
very much the same way of like, he's got a girlfriend, like, nah. Then it's like, but she's one of those types of exact comic book friendly girlfriends.
Fucking cliche. She's the quirky girl from that Community episode.
Oh,
of
definitely.
Like,
And this is another shame that they didn't run with it because, like, Comic Book Guy very much represents the nerds of old. Like, you know, the nerdy guy hanging out in his basement that, you know, resents women, whereas Jack Black's character represented the new wave and, like, girls are included in this now. And
he also would have easily been a great like late act reveal to have been like corporate shill that's being, hey, fellow kids, in order to get the money and things. There's plenty of stuff there.
That Coolsville is actually part of like a national-wide chain.
For real, it's owned by Starbucks or something.
Yeah.
Coolsville. It's such a fucking obvious name for that fellow kids plant, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, obviously we'll get back to the wackiness, but how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel bumps?
I should have, but round about the time I was supposed to, my heart was crushed
Yeah.
by sock-stuffed Homer.
yeah.
Yeah, they really botched this fucking end of the story, didn't they?
I think I felt a few little like
When he feels like he's losing Marge.
that's it. I thought that was cute. Like all of them going around going, they're going to pick up a new model. And it's like, I think they're talking about cars. They are using car language. It's like, no, we're all second husbands. And that little section there where he goes in to try to talk to her and he's got his like little list of like warning signs. I thought that was very cute.
Yeah, but the fact that he gets distracted, like, undercuts his own point, and it's
Thank
like,
you.
Straight
no,
away.
fuck you. Just leave him, Marge. He clearly doesn't deserve you.
even when he's trying because he's afraid he'll lose you, he gives up.
Yeah.
That was a really annoying me too. It undercut the entire scene.
And I think if they just not done that and she sort of maybe started telling about Day, then got a phone call and left him. So it was more like Marge not realizing what he's trying to do here.
It's happened before, but that's what this one needs.
Yeah.
It's what it was going for until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it decided to fucking undercut the whole thing with a, oh, you had a dream, but it's okay. I stuffed you with fat. So now you're fine now.
I liked his play for romance and his shame of her seeing his loose skin and things. That's like that's something that everyone feels, you know?
I think they could have
Body
played
shame.
that for a lot more sympathy rather than laughs.
Like him being embarrassed about his fat and loose skin when his wife is a gym owner. That's relatable.
Well, yeah, there could have been a moment where she finds out he's feeling body conscious. You're like, homie, the whole reason I started this is I was feeling that way.
Yeah.
But hey, you've had 3 kids too. They didn't come out of you, but you've still been dealing with the stress and life of doing that. And it's going to take a toll on you.
I was going to say something like she's talking to Homie about how she's like managing the gym, and she pulls out the drawing of the fat person saying, here, we're going to cut away, we're going to work on this and this and this by these exercises.
And
he sees Homer face on the, you know?
It's like unknowingly almost a silhouette of him.
Bingo. Bing pot.
I think, that's the thing. They played the body stuff too much for cheap jokes.
Yeah.
And I think they needed to just play it a little bit more seriously because it's actually quite...
There was so much to mine from that.
Yeah, there's a lot to mine, but could still be funny, but more emotional. And I think they needed that because that's why it dropped off at the end so badly.
That's where I got my investment from, and that's why I'm angry that we turned so hard away from that. Also to throw back about 40 seconds, I really like Bing Pot as a thing. Nicely done.
9-9. All right, guys, but ultimately, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
The first half.
Oh, yeah.
The second half felt like a bad Halloween episode.
Bits and pieces here and there.
When she said before, it felt like she watched the first act of 3 episodes that could have all resolved somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much that I liked, and especially in character integrity-wise. I love Bart in this episode. I think Marge was pretty on point as well.
Even Homer, I think, was generally on point.
Yeah. It went ridiculous places.
The plot was very unfinished, that's all.
Yeah.
I want to draw attention to a very weird little joke. When he first got the stomach staple and they're sitting around and he's going to blend up his tiny piece of pizza. And he goes, now, kids, Daddy got some surgery to make Mommy find him more attractive. And Bart goes, you got your hot dog plumped?
Yeah, that was...
I was like, whoa!
Wow.
Jesus. That's intense. Bart, calm down.
That was fucked.
It was funny, but it was fucked because it was coming from Bart. That's the kind of thing you would expect to hear from Lenny or Carl or something. He's at the bar.
But you have to appreciate in context, this is a 10-year-old kid saying to his dad, you get a penis enlargement to satisfy mum sexually? Did you, Dad?
It's gross.
Wow.
I liked Lisa's line in this scene. Oh, Dad, I can see your food. Normally it's just like a blur of motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost like a reference on the animation as well, yeah.
Yeah. But yes or no, guys, would you watch this episode again?
No.
9.
Probably not. But if it was on, I wouldn't like rush to turn it off.
I feel like this is an episode that could fool me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to say the first half, sure.
Yeah, you'd like be watching it. Oh yeah, what is this episode? And you know, at some point you'd be like,
Oh, that's right. This one.
Yeah. So we've gone around this a bit, but what would you change? We'll start with you, Danny.
Oh god, there's too many things. There's this interesting parallel with comic book guys, special guest cameos, learning to fly, like Lucy Lawless and Alan Moore. I would definitely cut those guys out from being the thugs. Having them as side characters was great. I liked what we were talking about before about somehow like going from the comic book store, focusing on the I would focus on the comic book store. Okay, that's better.
Yep.
I think that had an interesting thing going on. It kind of means we don't cut out all these characters halfway through the second act. The Jack Black thing, maybe him being a shill, or even we could do a double twist where like he is working for a corporation but he doesn't realize that he's a bad guy, and suddenly he's like, oh my god, I'm just cool because my manager tells me I'm cool. I thought I was really getting along with these people, and then
Then he needs to go to comic book guy for help.
Ooh,
yes,
yes.
to learn how to really appreciate the things that he thought on and on and on.
Or attacking that culture of unless you fulfill this criteria, you're not allowed to like comic books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
All the
actually super
gatekeeping.
stressed
Yeah.
about like trying to keep up with all the latest trends and all this sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Whereas comic book guy just lives and breathes it and has
Yeah.
ever since he was little, you know?
Absolutely.
Definitely. I think the gatekeeping is a really good theme to kind of run through it. And even in the gym half of the things, it's all body conscious gatekeeping, you know, all this
Yeah.
sort of fat shaming, body image problems and stuff. That's exactly the same thing, just on a different sort of cultural.
I think that there's an interesting connection there where you can't be part of this unless you're already good at it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, I think is a good little line for Marge during when she's trying to find a gym. I would have enjoyed a bit more of a montage of her trying out different gyms and them all kind of failing.
Yeah.
I did like the
Yeah.
quick OK Go reference. That was pretty
I
cool.
hated that. It was
Really?
so on the nose.
Yeah, but at least it was earned. Like it was a reference, but it was also one of everyone struggling with a treadmill. Maybe it's just me and Jim.
Okay. I really like.
No, I liked it too, Beach. I liked it
I
too.
liked Marge on the treadmill because
Yeah.
it was very like flat side roadrunnery sort of shtick thing, and the treadmill goes woo, 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 and she's like classic shtick.
Yeah.
But then when she's like, oh, I bet everyone else is bad at this too, and then cutting away to a trope, it just felt like
If it had been a trope that
hamming
was
in.
just there, I would have disliked it. But seeing it was, you obviously then cut to people doing well, but
Yeah.
to do it well
Yeah,
and
yeah,
have a cultural
yeah.
reference at the same time, I'm fine with.
I think it went a little long,
Yeah.
but I liked the
Okay.
joke still.
I think just because of how Family Guy cutaway it was, and because it's just random reference
What
to
if-
something that
what
was
if
popular 10
instead of
years
that,
ago.
it just panned back and showed them instead of hard cutting? So they were in scene all along, you know? Or they're all pointing and laughing on their treadmills.
While also running.
Yeah, while also running and reading the thing and da-da-da-da.
Mills
Actually,
and
yeah,
skipping rope.
if they were pointing and they were laughing and she's not as good as us, playing into the gatekeeper thing again, and then they bust into their OK Go routine, maybe. But
Just, I think I agree more with Claire. Just keep it brief. Give it
Yeah.
like a 2-second bit, enough to have enough of the song that you know
Yeah.
what it was.
how about you, Claire? What would you like to change?
Like I'd basically split it into 2 separate episodes. So
Yeah.
go somewhere with a comic book thing. That's one episode. It's focused on the kids. And then we've got the gym and Homer's body image issues, a completely separate episode with a different tone. Not about the laughs, it's about the heart for that one, because I think that would have been a really good Homer and Marge episode that wasn't based around Homer's a jerk and Marge forgives him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's actually something based on a genuine problem he has and something that she needs to come to the table about, which they don't explore very often.
Sure.
I don't like, sorry, not you, not you. But you saying it out loud made me realize I don't like that story arc that begins as Marge having body image issues suddenly becomes Homer's body image story.
Well, this is actually coming into what I'd change about the episode. Thank you for setting me up so seamlessly. Is that I'd fuck Homer right off from this story, or I wouldn't have him become the fucking Homer show in the third act, because that's what it does. It's like, oh, this is a Bart story. Oh, no, it's a Marge story. Oh, wait, no, it's the Homer show again.
Yeah.
Homer wackiness. No, I'd find a way to fuck him off from the story, make it all about Marge and Bart, and, you know, somehow bring the worlds together at the end. It can be done. Comic book guy would want his shot back, so he needs Marge to fail. So this is something that you can have Bart tie into that as well. Maybe Bart convinces Marge to start letting men come, and Homer comes and fucking ruins it. I don't know.
Maybe.
See, all right, the reason I didn't want Marge to be the body image issue, and it's because it's just so fucking cliche. You know, she is a thin white woman.
Yeah.
Don't give her unnecessary fucking body image issues when nobody is telling her anything different. It's normal for Homer to have those, and I think having him explore that is more interesting. As far as the storyline,
I mean, this episode is fortunate in the way that we're spoiled for choice of things we could change.
Yeah.
Like,
there's so much to change.
You could, literally pick this up and put it into 3 different episodes. So, guest stars of the episode: the comic book artist Alan Moore, Art Spiegelman, Dan Klaus. Are you guys fans of any of these people?
Alan Moore, Ghost World. I've only ever seen the movie and I hated it.
Oh, really? I quite enjoyed that.
Why? It was boring about nothing, about a piece of shit who doesn't do anything to help anybody.
You just didn't get it, okay?
I think you just didn't get it, okay?
Did Klaus write Mouse?
I think that was Spiegelman. But yeah, I did like Howard Spiegelman. Mouse is in the house.
Oh, yeah.
I know, it was layman on the nose, and it was in the scene where they turned into superheroes.
Yeah.
But you guys are Alan Moore fans as well, right?
Sure, man. He's done some really dark, powerful things that are complex political statements and philosophical worldviews, blah, 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 blah.
I only read manga. Sorry.
There's a
Watchmen. He did Watchmen.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Killing
sad.
V for Vendetta. He did Killing Joke.
I like how Klaus was like, I want to draw Batman. Here's my utility belt. This is where he keeps his money in case he needs to get the bus.
That's why I
actually really
wrote
like
down
those
Bat
jokes.
Bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also a sneaky reference to Alan Moore's more blue work in the background. There's a poster for Lost Girls, which is about Wendy, Sleeping Beauty, and another character and exploring their sex lives.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I saw they had From Hell in the back as well.
Yeah, there's a good quote from him saying, a lot of people don't know the difference between pornography and erotica, but to me it was always erotica was the porn my dad couldn't afford.
And yeah, can't say enough good things about Watchmen, babies. That is just...
A great example of the
Poignant.
corporatization of creative work.
V for Vacation.
Little Rorschach.
I would watch it.
Little Rorschach.
Fuck.
All right, now we're getting into the final parts of this segment.
Yep.
So I must ask you people, do you have any other notes? Danny, any other notes?
What would have been interesting is if, like, he'd had all these work done and suddenly he thought he had super strength or something because he would look like He-Man, like Iron Man or whatever.
Buff as hell. but still,
Yeah.
Oh.
So he goes to lift something up or he goes to do the thing, stop a train or whatever, but he's just a guy with plastic surgery.
And that's when... Yeah,
And everything pops.
muscles. Yeah, thank you. And he tries to stop the train and then the socks just pop out of him.
The socks. The fucking socks.
Always with the socks. BT, any other note?
Plenty. During a montage of Marge's success, she's on the cover of a magazine, and then the cover of the next magazine has her reading the first magazine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's quick, but it's really funny. I do like Homer crying while also stealing things from the hotel.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, the discourse between me and you today, man.
I know.
It's high. I fucking hated this. I hated the TV remote stealing thing.
I know that I didn't like, but I like the end where he's like, well, she's moved on. He just starts packing his own stuff, puts a lamp in. Maybe I just like it when people cry. I can't explain these things, man.
I'm on your side, Beach. I thought it was all right.
Yeah, see, me and Claire today are like,
Vampires of human emotion.
Don't worry, Elliot. I still got your back, man.
feed me with your misery. I like how Marge goes to the successful ladies' room.
I did like that.
Yep.
With a little dice sign in
Oh,
there.
you're supposed to hit it so I can feed. I like when they're about to gas him and they're like, okay, Homer, count backwards from 10. All right, fine, you got me, I'm drunk.
Yes.
Actually, in the similar scene, where, do you want me to unstable your stomach? And he's got the giant office
Yeah.
unstapler.
Yeah.
As far as a prop guy goes, yeah.
All right, guys, it is time for my final notes.
Final.
It's the final notes. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Well, someone's heading for Venus.
Sci-fi!
I didn't mind the Wolverine pop-out comic gag.
Little too heavily telegraphed.
Yeah. It was a good reference. It was set up, but then it was like, oh, this is the one where the thing pops out. Oh, hey, Bart, what's that you've got?
Why is it so controversial that pops out? Oh my god, it popped out.
That it led to him damaging the comic. I thought it
Yeah.
paid off, even though I agree it lived a little too long.
Telegraphed too hard, but at
Yeah.
least there was a
Yeah.
payoff and a point
Yeah,
I
to
there
it.
was
did
a
like
reason.
the basically slow-mo melodrama of the
Yeah.
single tear falling, and that was nice.
Comic book guy as well calls him Dr. Boohoo.
Yeah.
Didn't mind it. And at one point, Milhouse mentions he's got a Greek yaya. So he's actually got a confusing heritage
He
going
does.
on. He is Italian, Greek, Danish, and Dutch.
And he has like 3 or 4 grandmas.
And apparently his parents are cousins.
Let's not get into that.
They get into that.
I know. but let's not. Let's take the high road.
Yeah.
So, Claire, you're a Tintin fan. What did you think of this Tintin reference?
I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
It
Did
was
you?
very
Did
Tintin.
you?
I thought I was going to hate it. Like,
Yeah.
I thought I was going to hate it.
I thought it was going to go to Tintin used to be racist, and
Yes.
I'm really
Yeah.
glad it didn't.
Yeah.
So, like, as a Tintin, like, I don't really know it. Is
That's every Tintin book
Yeah.
ever. No, 100%.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Snowy. Yeah, perfect. I loved it.
And then the castle turns into a rocket. Yeah, that's
yeah,
very typical.
that would
There
work.
was
There'd
one
be
with a
some
rocket in it.
secret thing, and yeah, they had a few good visual references. So the rocket was from Objectif Lune.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I remember that in French. And
Loon means moon.
Some of the covers in the background were actual Tintin covers.
Yeah.
And
And I like that it didn't go on too long. They had
Yeah.
that one page, and then when she went to turn it, she ripped the book, and then
Yeah.
that was perfect that it finished there.
I like how we got into it. Kind of zooms into the one panel and then it starts playing. I thought
Yeah.
it looked good. It was a good little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't quite a Family Guy cutaway, even though it was very much, here's this pop culture thing we're making comment on now. But it also tied into the story. Yeah, I liked that, Lisa rips it and then Milo
Yeah,
is cool with
I
it.
think a lot like the Wolverine comic. It's a bit that then goes somewhere. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that the comic book artists called themselves the League of Extraordinarily Freelance Comic Book Artists. Didn't one of them do Extraordinary Gentlemen? No.
Shit, was that more?
It might have been more,
I
actually.
think it was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I talk about properties that got turned into botched Hollywood movies. Homer going, I can see why pimps are so happy.
Fuck.
I liked it.
Yeah.
It was so on the nose, but I
Yeah.
thought it was funny.
Yeah.
See, I thought they were going to go in that scene more in like Real Housewives kind of thing, because
Yes.
it's suddenly all the men that are being like,
Yeah.
looked after.
The pampered and
yeah,
precious.
exactly.
I think there's actually something to mine there from the trophy husbands being
Yeah.
mean to Homer.
Yeah.
Like, your wife's earning that and she's got you. Oh, it's not going to be like,
They should all be preying on Marge next as the fresh meat, you know?
Yeah. they
oh,
could've been like,
and like she's earning more than their wives. So
Yeah.
I could have it so much better. And she puts up with this fat towel. Oh, perfect.
yeah.
Damn.
So when Marge is talking to the other successful women, they're telling that she needs to get a big black one.
Yeah, that felt uncomfortable.
Low-hanging fruit, gentlemen.
No, see, I don't mind like a few gross sexual jokes in The Simpsons as long as they're not coming out of the mouth of one of the children. I actually like that joke. You need to get a new purse. It's like, you should get a big black one. Like, no, perfect.
Oh,
Terrible. Like, so stupid. But it's also the perfect thing for Homer to overhear as well. Like, I
Yeah.
know it was cheesy. I know it was like a really cheap joke, but I still
sometimes
thought it was
the
funny.
most terrible lines are the most endearing.
Yeah,
'Cause you're
especially, I pick up a new one every 2 years from Italy. Like, great.
Okay, yeah, I'll pay that. It's more complex than my thought, which was, it's bad.
I think it's just because it's all Homer's expectation
Yeah.
of Marge leaving him and of what these women are like.
Okay, I'd pay even more now.
Yeah, there we go.
And my final note is, that nurse gave you a sponge bath. And then she's kissing the cross and so.
Again, fucked up the
Yeah.
body, like
Yeah.
all the body shaming that comes into this when they're trying to tell people, like, it's okay, you know?
I don't think they were trying to tell people
Well,
it's
they should have
okay.
been.
They really should have.
One last joke that
Yeah?
was terrible but good was like, what's the lesson you've learned here? That I shouldn't get plastic surgery until they've perfected it. Then everyone should get it. And I was like, that is the moral that you're trying to tell people, really.
Yeah.
Well done,
Yeah.
Simpsons.
Yeah.
Knocked
You-
it out of the park again.
Everyone is ugly, but science is shit.
All right, guys, it is time to rank this thing. Claire, kick it off.
Bronze.
Oh, really?
Wow, really?
Wow, really?
Because
Shoo.
I think I still enjoyed it while I was watching it, despite having a lot of issues with it. And that's more than I can say with the last one.
Fair enough. Danny?
Participant.
Pick one.
I think I'm gonna fail this one.
Really?
Yes. The last one, I don't think it was a good episode, but it had I gave
Gave
it
it a silver.
Yeah. I don't think it was a good episode, but it had so many
Silver's
things
great.
in it that no, it's not.
You
Silver's
monster.
for the scum, for the plebeians.
So silver.
Silver's for the gutters.
You have-
Aren't your
you have
gutters silver?
glistening gutters.
Like the last one, it had lots of things that I thought could have worked into a great episode, into a gold, into a cubic with a bit of nudge. This one, I was still looking at changes, but I was struggling to save the dying, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, there's not a lot of respect in this one.
BT?
Again, I came in on a hard fail, and after discussing it, I'm on a soft fail.
Woo!
Okay, much like the last one, I think the 3 ad breaks, I would break into a participant, bronze, and fail.
Yeah.
Which technically should average out into a participant, much like the last one. However, in this one, the fail is so much harder because it's just so bad to begin with, and then to pay it off with, but it was all a dream, and everything's fine now.
Yeah, I'm glad I failed
And
this.
the fact that there were so
I
many
forgot
other
about
places to take this. Yeah, when I think back on the previous episode, I keep struggling to remember it exactly, and so I think, okay, that's a participant. Whereas this one, when I think about Homer's lumpy, ugly body and the whole stupid, bloody, it's all a dream, and we didn't actually resolve anything that we set up and had such promise and such potential, that gets me genuinely angry. So that is why it gets kicked into the pit of failure where it belongs.
Yeah, look, I'm giving it a participant. I actually probably came into this conversation a failure as well, but there were a lot of bits that I liked, and there
Talked him up.
It happens.
honestly, I did like the first act, and there were parts of the next two that I liked. I guess it's one of these participants that I'm giving for potential.
That's why I'm failing it, for its
Yeah.
potential that it's squandered.
I mean, this is just me saying why it wasn't a failure, but why it wasn't a bronze for me was because it fucking just lost it on so many of these things. Had ADD, didn't stick with any of its stuff, but it didn't do the worst possible job on all 3 of these acts. So yeah, just a participant for me. Everyone good with their rankings?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
don't-
good with your rank. Nah, of
I don't
course.
make mistakes.
I don't really disagree with anything anyone else is saying. I just have to go with the gut feeling of the fact that I
Yeah.
did enjoy while watching it. With a critical eye,
I
it's
can't believe
shit.
you'd give it a silver.
I didn't give it a silver, you idiot.
Gave it a
Funny.
gold.
I wrote down cubic.
What? Stop
All right.
slandering my good name.
All right, so all around, this will be a dull participant. This will be the first dull participant where it's had any bronze in it at all.
Oh, wow.
This will be joining other dull participants like 22 for 30, the basketball episode that we...
didn't really enjoy.
The Great Fatsby Part 1. We failed Part 2.
Oh,
We should have
can
failed
we go
it
back and
harder.
fail part 1?
Oh, Dangerous Curves, where they told Homer and Marge going to this holiday spot over
Yeah,
3
the
different
three-
spots in
Oh,
time.
that was terrible.
Another unfocused episode that
Yeah.
had 3 things that didn't run with it.
Seriously.
And Don't Fear the Roofer. Oh, that's
Ray
what Ray
Romano.
Romano says in that episode.
God, I've listened back to that podcast like 10 times now. I just can't get enough of how much we hate it.
That was a great one. That was Lisa's Pony as well, wasn't that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a solid review.
Mm. Now, before we move on, is that reputation justified?
Is that reputation justified?
Robert Canning of IGN. Oh, wait, no, we're doing the intros
Feather
now.
Touch Canning.
Robert the Feather Touch Canning. He gave this episode a 7 out of 10.
Ooh. Oh,
That's calling it. An episode that can keep viewers entertained and laughing.
wrong.
He did note that the Homer Marge plot was not nearly as enjoyable as the comic-related bits, and still gave this episode a great ranking.
Yeah, but to be fair, for his scale, a 7 out of 10 is like what he would also rank the day he lost an eye.
It wasn't a great day, but it wasn't the worst.
You know
You'll
what?
still have a
I
few
still
laughs.
have one.
Did have waffles for breakfast that day.
Yeah,
Then I
pretty
lost an
good.
eye. But those waffles.
Oh.
And that's the
those
day
waffles.
that it became IGN and not IIGN.
Oh.
Okay, leave.
Oh.
I know we're mid-segment, but you need to get out of here.
That's, wow.
All right, guys, we better move on. So, I am so excited right now, but I need to ask you something.
And what would that be?
Y'all ready for this?
Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da.
But no, I need to ask you. Ook, are you ready to go ape?
Yes!
A professional gorilla mask is still a professional.
I was born ready.
So that was the 407th. We are going all the way back to the 143rd episode of The Simpsons. Bart The Fink, we will be back.
Yes! Yeah, boy!
So excited.
I'm down. I'm down to clown. Clown around in a gorilla suit.
And we are back, and we just watched our classic and our final episode for the evening. This was Season 7, Episode 15, Bart the Fink. First released in February of 96, directed by Jim Reardon, and the idea was pitched by Bob Cushel, but John Swartzwelder was the actual writer of the episode.
Ah.
In this episode, Bart accidentally outs Krusty the Clown as a tax cheat, and Krusty deals with his tax problems and fakes his own death and tries to reinvent himself as a guy harvesting sunken barges for scrap iron. Guys, what did you think?
Ah, man.
Wasn't this nice?
It was so cleansing after the previous
Yeah,
episodes.
it's like a nice hot bath.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly what it was like. I feel better now.
So many bits. I stopped taking notes because I couldn't fit them all. It was just too rapid and too much. I'm like,
It's crazy. I'd forgotten how many bits that I love are from this episode.
The pacing was so tight. The writing was like everything that didn't fit still fits so well.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that was the whole thing. It didn't feel rushed at all, but it's actually quite a massive storyline that
Yeah.
they fed in
Yeah,
there.
a
It
lot
just
goes
doesn't
on.
feel crowded. It doesn't feel like wasted in
It's
any
It
so
way.
starts
fluid.
with Aunt Hortense's death. Dude, how good was that?
Oh, so good. And I was actually going to say this is a moment from the episode that stood out to me because recently we reviewed Homer Loves Flanders, which as a goof, the episode ends and they're like, oh, let's go stay at a haunted house.
Yeah.
And this one sort of does a similar thing where it plays with the haunted house trope.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it starts out the episode and then they're cool with it.
Yeah.
It's
Their
such-
tap water tasted better than our tap water.
It's such a sitcom-y trope, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In order to get blank, you have to go through blank.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just out of that one bit, so many quotable moments. Oh, poor Aunt Hortense. Woohoo.
I'm sorry, I must have continued talking after you left. I do that sometimes.
Oh, my.
Yeah, he decays all over it.
That's where he got it from. But yeah, just what a way to open the episode and just get us into it and ready for adventure. Fucking loved it.
It just felt like really tight as well because even though it's so different from the rest of the episode, it was just neatly wrapped up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they got their $100 and there's a reason why the kids have money and it just makes sense, but it doesn't feel disjointed, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, it is technically one of those left turn after the first 30 seconds sort
Sure.
of episodes.
The means to an end, and it goes quickly.
Yeah. How about you, Danny? What is a moment from this episode that stood out to you for better or worse?
Oh, fuck. You're asking me for one bit?
You can only pick one. We want the rest.
Damn.
I've got my bit loaded, and if you take it, ooh.
I really like Krusty and the Mansion, I think.
Yeah?
The part with the Krusty show becoming the IRS show, oh, that was pretty great.
You mean Herschel Kotrowski's clown-related gaming show?
Yep.
I mean, that's one of the most quotable moments. Like, well, throw something. Ah, the corner in my eye.
I
And he
could really
sneaks
use a
on
pun
stage.
right about now.
I really love the visual joke of the guy sneaking on stage to take his...
yeah.
I need that back.
Throughout your life, you are going to get hit on the corner of so many things. And for me, it's benches. I always find myself hitting the corner of benches, and I always think of this line, the corner. Yeah,
Oh,
so
shit.
the moments that stood out to you were sort of watching the downfall of Krusty.
I guess it's part of like even his voice and his character. When you think of the Krusty voice, you really think of him going, oh God, oh
Yeah.
God. Because that's sort of his character in a...
Well, the perfect moment of that is don't worry, Krusty, we don't send our celebrities to jail.
Yeah.
We're just going to garnish your salary a little bit.
Garnish
my
my
salary? Oh, it's all so crazy to me.
What are you talking about?
But I love that he outs himself. All right, it's just going to be 75% over 40 years. I don't plan to live that long. Oh, better make it 95%.
Oh, it's so pure Krusty. That
Yeah.
wail of anguish. And he's walking home and he's like, they've taken my show, they've taken my money, they've taken my livelihood, and all I've got left is my memories. And they're all sitting here in my giant mansion.
Auction.
Oh, great. His mansion, of course, being called Shtick Fair instead of Mayfair.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
I
that was
missed
great.
that.
And there are all these big, like, hedge bush heads of Krusty on the way
Yeah,
in.
there's a
and
statue of him squirting seltzer.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
I really like the line in there where it's just like my grandfather would be rolling in his grave if there wasn't some veteran in it.
This is actually a moment that flew over my head where he goes, they took my money, took my show, and filled up my family plot with some veterans. And then, they brought it back in the
Yeah.
auction. It's great. How about you, Claire? What is a moment from this episode that stood out to you for better or worse?
I really, really liked Bart dealing with depressed Krusty. That was such a heartfelt scene there. You know, Bart giving, well, my mom always says, like such a childlike
Yeah.
piece of advice, you know, God closes a door, they'll open a window. No offense, kid, your mom's a dingbat. But I think Bart having to watch Krusty break down like that would have been so hard. And his childlikeness in that scene really works out.
Yeah, because this was never Bart's
No,
intention.
he never wanted anything but an autograph on the back of a check. He doesn't really understand what happened.
Yeah.
I think it's just, his very childlike, well, make you feel any better. You can punch me in the face. Like, it's such a kids trying to make up with other kids sort of thing. You can punch me and then we're going to be friends again, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that he doesn't, like, he wants to fucking punch this kid, but he doesn't. And it leaves Bart feeling worse, I think, because there's nothing he can do to fix this at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
By the way, accidental thematic thing.
Yep.
Bart tries to bargain a punch in the face with Homer in the first episode we watched tonight.
We did too.
I was going to say that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, watching Bart's depression in this episode because, it would just be compounding guilt, wouldn't it? First he watches the demise of his hero's career and his demise.
Yeah, and the show just go as well.
Yeah.
So the show's gone, the career's gone, and then Crossy himself.
And that lovely scene between Lisa and Bart on that theme where it's just like, would it help if I told you it wasn't your fault?
Yes.
Yes, it would. Please tell me it's not my fault.
Well, I
I can't. I'm just going to have to live with your mental problems.
And
That's
I
what
must
being
say I've
adult
had
is.
a lovely evening, Agnes. I don't suppose I could come in for a cup of Seymour. Superintendent Chalmers. Mother.
That scene actually always weirded me out. Why are they angry at Seymour? They clearly got caught out.
I thought they were just surprised. Seymour! You know?
Yeah.
And then Chalmers was angry because he's not going to get any.
And Agnes is angry because she's not going to get
Something to
any.
interrupt
Yeah.
this awkward moment.
Oh, great. Now you woke the kid. No, now we're never going to have
Exactly.
How about you, BT? What's a moment from this episode that says to you? Better.
A swing, better. My moment is...
And I got 40 cents over here. Sold for $1.
My whole thing is, first of all, the auction is just so laden with jokes. I had to stop taking notes because I can't keep up with all this.
Yeah.
But I think the bit that really sells it for me is when they're talking about Krusty's plane. So first of all, it's showing his, level of wealth and power that he has his own private airplane.
Sure.
But it's setting it up for the plane crash later.
Yeah.
But you're getting that set up through jokes. You're not being told, oh, I still have this plane, which has meant a lot to me
Yes.
over
Wink,
the years.
wink.
They'll never take this away.
Yeah.
It was more like you get a bunch of jokes about him flying to Vegas with Dean Martin and the moon hit his eye like a big pizza pie. We wrote a song about it. And unfortunately, it ended up infringing on a song he'd written years before.
That was a new bit for me. I always been like, we wrote a song about it. I never
the little
heard the
extra
next
bit.
little.
Yeah, but then you get distracted from
Perfect.
that with Patty and Selma going, you should buy that plane to go with your new luggage you just bought for 40 cents. And she's like, I just bought it to soak my feet. But it lets you know how desperate and how cheap everything is going.
Yes.
Not only the fact that we just
Yeah.
watched a family heirloom go for 40 cents and 36 boxes of pornography go for 12 cents. The fact that we just saw someone consider buying a plane to match their luggage.
Yes.
So you get a joke, but you don't realize, this is setting up that plane that's going to be crucial to the plot in about 2 minutes.
Oh my God! Flaming wreckage! Crowd around, everybody! Crowd around!
Oh, so good.
You're going to start with, all right, nothing to see here. And oh my God.
So, how about the wackiness of this episode?
Dancing Pete.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That's the most wacky.
Yeah.
The fact
I got
pa-
some customers.
Partially blowing up the balloon so his head's all distorted. Such a good joke.
Yeah.
Like, such a good visual
Well,
gag.
And it's also great to use the balloon as the have you seen this man picture.
Yes.
Yeah. Yar, that be Dancing Pete.
Which again is something kids would do. It's like, we need a photo of Krusty. I've got this balloon. Close enough.
Yeah.
You don't expect it either. And it's so silly, but the whole, a quarter, he'll be dancing
They'll be dancing for hours. I've said that so many fucking times now. Also, they do the hot fuzz bit where they're like, how would the captain say no? Nar.
No.
Nar.
And I liked his sign coming in where we're open and there's just everything's got apostrophes on it.
And let's not forget his, I got some customers. Call me back, Ishmael.
So good.
Yeah.
A reference to Treasure Island.
Moby Dick.
Close.
Swing and a miss.
What other wacky moments? So, the actual plane crashing as well and the...
Oh, he misses the net? Oh, yes. It's such a clown bit.
The shadow was casting perfectly, and then all of a sudden...
But, he landed sideways against the rock.
Beautiful. He must have had a real angle coming in.
Physics will always fuck you, man.
High headwind.
Wind resistance, yeah. It was like 3 clowns with a fire trampoline, or Flanders jumping down onto the trampoline, going straight, sleeping Homer, going straight back in.
With
Yeah.
a mattress, yeah.
There's a playlist.
Not impossible wacky, but just kind of wacky. Was next on our list of celebrity mourners, Bob Newhart.
I was actually just killing time here. I'm waiting for another podcast to start.
I'll handle it. Bob Newhart, everybody.
Phil Hartman again. Oh,
He was great.
Yeah.
He was
So good.
great.
And Crossy's head sewn. See you real soon, kids.
Yeah.
So, just on the funeral scene while we're here as well. So, recently was the 20th anniversary of Phil Hartman's death. So, just, shout out to Phil. Oh, my God. We still are loving your work so
Yeah.
much. Great.
You might remember me from Andre the Giant. We hardly knew ye.
And Shep Howard, today we mourn a stew.
That's it.
Yeah, and Bob Newhart as well. So this is actually something funny about the episode. That the first recorded draft that they sent into the animators was 26 minutes long, and it's because not only does Bob Newhart speak really slow, but also it's something I've never noticed really before, but Krusty as well.
I am taking so much time with the wailing and the... Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in an episode, I think that's why it feels jam-packed, is like they're just moving through things a bit quicker. So, yeah, when we get to this moment of Newhart, that it just really slows the pacing down and does this great bit of awkward comedy.
And he was making like a semi-decent attempt, right?
Yeah.
Until he said, even though not very many of us watched his show. Like, why? Why would you put that in there?
You tried doing a eulogy out of nowhere.
Oh, you know what part we haven't mentioned yet?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid I can't divulge information about that customer's secret illegal account.
Oh, crap.
That one we've quoted more than
Anything else.
It's
anything.
a line that you need in Australia.
Yeah,
oh,
when
it's
it's
too
too
hot
hot.
today.
Oh, it is too hot today. Also, these days, everyone seems to have secret illegal customer client accounts. It's just the way the world's burning and turning.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, in the one sentence, he says the three incriminating things. Shouldn't have told him it was a secret. Shouldn't have told him it was a customer. Definitely shouldn't have said it was legal.
I do like that. It's an illegal account I can't talk about.
I like the way he just settles back in like, oh, well, fuck him.
It's too
Like,
hot.
Well, it's done now.
Was he doing a fat Brando?
A little bit, Brando.
It was apparently modelled after Sydney Greenstreet from Casablanca.
I don't know who that is, so it's Brando.
I haven't seen that movie before either. Apparently there's something about a sled that's a rosebud. I don't know.
no, wrong movie.
That is not.
He knows
that
it.
is- that is not the
Look at
right
that
movie.
face. Look at that face. He knows
It's
he's
the one
telling
with the
shit.
Maltese
No,
Falcon.
it's a guy that he goes over the bridge and but
It's
he
the
has
one about 100 tacos for $100.
Oh, there's some wackiness.
There should be adequate sustenance for the Doctor Who marathon.
Again, another Doctor Who theme going on.
Yeah, that
in
was the
here.
other connection. That's right.
Yeah, lots of wacky moments in this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
The Hindenburg flip.
Oh, that was pretty sweet.
Oh, the humanity.
Millhouse's autograph on his stomach.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a sweet moment
Yeah.
as well. It's okay, Bart. You can share mine. He pulls up his shirt.
Yeah.
Press against it while the ink's still wet.
That's great.
And the follow-up
Bet
of...
yours won't make girls do this.
Won't impress girls.
Yeah,
Ah.
but they all rhyme, but I love he's not sad about it. He's just...
I think he thinks he's winning there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I love, and it's a very kid reaction. Like it feels like he's not necessarily trying to win them over. He's just trying to, I don't know, gross them out, get attention. He doesn't even
Get
care.
attention. That's it. Yeah.
Definitely. So how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel the bumps?
Yes.
Definitely.
Another little moment that I thought was really sweet was where he first saw Krusty
Yeah.
and then he comes running home. I was like,
Yeah.
Mom, I just saw Krusty. Yes,
Yeah.
in your
Your
mind.
mind.
No, on the street.
Yes,
on the
on
street,
street.
in
In
your
your
mind.
mind.
And like the part that really gets me in that is the, why don't you believe me? And it's so like sad.
Yeah.
She turns off the stove. She kneels down to talk at his
Yeah.
level. And it's just really lovely.
This was beautiful.
This is a thing that I keep saying that I like about the old season compared to the new is that the kids are still kids.
Yeah.
Everything they do is still childish. Like Lisa gives advice to Bart because she's mature, but she's still a kid that selfishly kind of goes, well, I can't help you any further. Like, you
You
know,
just have to let it deal with this.
even the way that they get Krusty to come back, like walking along beside the boat and being like, oh, I guess he doesn't want to
Oh,
be
that
a
was
famous
beautiful,
celebrity.
Ah.
They've heard of reverse psychology, so now they're going to
Yeah.
just go for it, you know?
Yeah, and Marge tries to help Bart out. And she's like, I know how you feel, honey. I felt the same way with Lyndon Johnson died.
Definitely another thing that flew over my head back in
Yeah.
the day. So that was old grabby dog-eared guy, wasn't it?
Fucking LBJ.
Fucking LBJ.
Hey, OBJ. I really liked. Oh, we're talking heart. Fuck it, whatever. Herschel Krostowski, one of the world's biggest tax avoidance criminals. No, I don't say evasion. I say avoidance. It's a word.
Look it up.
This must be like one of those Cromulin and Biggin things where it's now part of the lexicon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Avoidance was already a word.
Oh, was it?
No, it's avoidance or evasion.
I'm sorry, but dictionary.com defines avoidance as the arrangement of one's financial affairs so as to avoid or minimize tax liability.
Etymology.
Yeah. Does it originate in The Simpsons? Because dictionary.com.
Yeah, has it been dated back to like 98?
Origins, 1970s.
It's later than I thought,
1970s.
though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty.
totally.
Yep.
Pretty late for a word.
And also, they were all on drugs back then. Come on. Any words made in the 70s are probably not legitimate.
Blend of avoidance and evasion. So.
Oh!
It's a twerge
from the 70s.
Hey.
Oh, I feel so much better now.
But to bring it back to the heart, Bart's thing and his compounding guilt throughout the episode, you really do feel for the poor kid, hey?
Yeah, definitely. At no point was it his fault. He went up to
No.
get a signature, and they go off without telling him and arrest Krusty, who is like, I bought this popcorn fair and square.
I like the way that starts off with, hey, 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 hey. Like,
Yeah.
The play on his catchphrase. But I also love that the bank guy is like, oh, kid, I forgot to tell you, you know, he's the most massive tax fraud guy, and they got him all thanks to you. Some people would say you're a hero. Not me, though. I love Krusty.
I just
but
love-
it's his fault. He's
Yeah.
the one that reported him.
But I also like how he forgets about Bart for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And Bart just stands there,
Yeah,
Yeah.
naturally.
absolving himself of all guilt while blaming this 10-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
before we move on, we got to mention the bank tellers as well. Are you ready to go ape?
And I love how it continues on. They come back later, they're all wearing deer antlers.
Yeah.
What was that for? I missed that.
I don't know, but it was funny.
Christmas
and then,
something.
And then like call other banks, and they've got the guy wearing like the house.
Home loans are through the roof. Yeah.
I really liked when he met with the teller, and he was like, I'm sure you'll find filling in these forms more exciting than a weekend with Batman.
Yeah.
But did it feel like an episode?
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone's on top form. I don't know what there is to say.
These are the formative seasons here. This is what The Simpsons is.
Prime time.
Yeah.
There's sort of this question they don't really explore about, are you the good guy or the bad guy for outing your hero as the criminal that he is? He is the criminal. It's not like Bart did a wrong thing. If
Yeah.
it turned out Krusty had been a murderer that he revealed as a murderer, no one would be like, oh, Bart, how dare you reveal this murderer as a murderer?
Well, see, I think I like the way they played it because you see Bart's guilt and you get references to, I'm going to get beaten up at school tomorrow. But none of the family is mad at him. You never see anyone being
Yeah,
like, how
yeah.
could you? Except for that one bank teller that's like,
Yeah.
he's not actually rude to him. He's just like, yeah, you're not a hero. Like, but Lisa, considering she loves Krusty as well,
Yeah.
is not mad at him. She doesn't blame him. She sees his pain and is just like, well, this sucks.
Yeah.
Nobody blames him, and they actually try to make him feel better. Like when they first see the plane fly over, it's like, oh, see, look at him, still
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
us laugh.
Yeah.
You know, don't worry about it. And Bart
Looks
starts
like
to smile
Krusty's
again.
going to be okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In that sense, even though there is a lot of guilt that Bart's experiencing, I like that they didn't make everyone else blame him, because I think that would
yeah,
just be like,
definitely.
everyone else is being a jerk, you know?
Yeah, like you're already seeing Bart's pain. You're already seeing his piling on himself. Like, and I think that sort of element that you were saying that they don't really explore is there, but it only exists in the subtext.
Yeah, yeah.
And the only retribution he mentions is from other kids at his school who would not know that it was accidental.
Yeah.
You know, they might have thought it was malicious or deliberate.
Or it doesn't matter if it was accidentally, did it anyway.
He did it anyway, and they're just jerk kids.
That's,
but
that's what kids are.
as an adult watching it, one point we haven't touched on is Krusty is just complaining about real life.
Yeah.
Like, he's done this to himself, for starters. He's deliberately chosen to avoid taxes. And all he's complaining about is, like, teachers and Ferraris, first thing that happens.
Research science us drinking champagne.
Yeah. So all the people who actually do jobs that are worthwhile and should be rewarded for, he's really bitter about.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've got to take the bus like a schmuck. And,
Yeah.
you know, as an adult,
What's
you're
wrong
like,
with being a schmuck?
But then that's how they win him back
God
at the
damn it.
end. It's like,
Yeah,
what's
that's
it like
right.
being an illiterate TV clown that's more respected than all the
Yeah.
doctors,
Doctors
teachers,
and
and research scientists
and-
and put together?
Yeah.
I love that The Simpsons doesn't shy away from that. The Simpsons is like, yeah, he doesn't deserve any of this money. He is a criminal. He's getting out of this by
Yeah.
his faking another death. Like, he's just a
Taking
jerk.
another death.
But they're also shining a mirror on society and going, hey, isn't it actually kind of fucked up?
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's what they used to do. You know, it was humorous. It was still entertaining. You were still rooting for these terrible characters to
Yeah.
succeed, but they weren't pretending that they weren't terrible.
No, that's it. But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
Yes.
Yeah. What are we
Yes.
talking about? We're going to watch this again. What playlist does this go in?
Tax evasion.
Evasion.
Avoision.
Krusty and Bart episodes,
Krusty
basically.
gets
Yeah,
cancelled.
definitely.
Yeah.
Krusty gets busted.
Oh,
yeah.
I like the throwback to the other side shows in the funeral.
And corporal punishment.
Corporal
Yeah,
punishment.
script says I should hit you with this mallet. I wouldn't.
Right on.
Right on.
Angry young man.
But yeah, Mel and the ballerina and corporal punishment.
Sideshow Luke
Yeah.
Perry was there as well.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he is his half brother.
Yep.
So yeah. Yeah, what other playlists? Funerals?
Yeah, there are a few good funerals or like Bart Detective episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bart
sure.
and Lisa team up to solve something.
Yeah, it's only a little one at the end, but it's still, definitely a Bart and Lisa detective mode. Yeah, that's pretty good for playlists. But BT, I've got to ask you, what would you change about this episode?
I would change None of the things.
Interesting take. How about you, Danny?
I actually would really like. Can't do that. I can't do that.
You
I'm
can't
sorry.
do it? How about you, Claire? What do we want to change?
Firstly, it's a very good episode, so there's probably nothing to change. However, I think that's a really hard question to ask for things that we've grown up watching.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to rewrite plots when you haven't seen the plot so many times that's second nature to you. I think it's pretty tight the way it is, though. I actually don't think there are any rewrites that you could fit in
I suppose I
to
could
make it
lose
flow
Bob
better.
Newhart. Like, I really liked his joke about being there for a different wedding, and then he's like, wedding. And, and he's like, I'll handle this. Bob Newhart, everybody. That's great. McClure is amazing there, roping him in. But I don't know. It was funny.
It was just a
But
joke. It was
if
a
you
bit
got to cut
joke.
something, maybe I'd lean there.
Yeah, that was one where Bob Newhart's first take was like 2 minutes long because they just sort of gave him a couple of beats to hit and in his Bob Newhart way just did that perfect
Mumbles,
stumbling
rambles.
and dancing around it, yeah. And they actually shut down production for when Bob Newhart was in the studio because everyone was a massive fan of him. So yeah, they got to watch him on the proviso that no one said or talked or laughed or anything during his performance.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Perfectly still.
They've put a little too much emphasis on Newhart there. I think that's them being big fans.
Hey, that might be you might be right. That might be a downfall of this episode that they prioritized getting him in so much that
That also might have been a product of its time.
Yeah,
we just don't
totally.
have
That's it. It's The Simpsons back when they did, real cameos and really focused on that. However, not knowing anything about this guy when I was younger, I still found that a funny scene, him being so awkward. So
I think it gets balanced by Troy McClure's bit. Yeah.
And that's what you want. You don't want celebrity cameos just for the sake of having a celebrity in. They need to still be funny.
Yeah.
And this one was still funny whether you knew the celebrity or not.
Yeah, I don't know that there's much fat to trim from this episode other than that bit we just mentioned. Even the little cutaway gag of the IRS burger to me was just fucking
love that.
excellent.
Yeah.
I'll have 2 dependent-sized sodas, an IRH switch, withhold the lettuce.
Withhold the lettuce.
Withhold the lettuce. I noticed the garbage bins were like gross refuse and net refuse.
Yes.
I didn't see that.
But even like the Krusty Burger, when they're swapping the signs and it's the Krusty Burger, the clown holding a burger.
Yeah.
And then it's just the stern IRS guy holding
a burger.
I also really like that he fills out his form and it's like, Marge, what were your gambling losses last year? A nice little touch to Marge being like a gambler as well.
Yep. See, that's great, calling back to the past. And yeah, like Homer filling out the form was another drawn-out joke where he was just mumbling his way through it. But honestly, it's sort of moments like these where you do like the drawn-out jokes because this episode was so jam-packed and rapid-paced that...
Let's catch your breath a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was wackiness, but it was wackiness within the concept of the plot.
Yes.
So it didn't feel too disjointed from everything. And it got to show Bart sitting there in what used to be a Krusty Burger, what used to be his fun place, looking absolutely miserable.
And it's a nice touch. Like, they didn't need to have Bart be emotional at all in that scene. He could have just been blank faced, but they showed him disparately sad against his rest of his family. It's fucking eloquent.
Am I allowed to say what I would have changed is made it longer?
Oh, I would have loved to see the 26-minute cut of this episode.
I would have liked more time from thinking he sees Krusty to...
It was, in retrospect, a bit quick.
There's time limit. It's only a half-hour episode.
Exactly.
I understand that. But if they were doing like modern day, like a Breaking Bad, a 40-minute, 45-minute episode, a bit more time to kind of like the suspense. Is Bart going crazy? Is Krusty dead? Then the hunt for Krusty, da-da-da-da-da. And then if Krusty like turns around, they meet him up, the gig's over. Guess you have to go back to doing your TV show now or kill us.
Yeah. I mean, it's really what I love about Netflix these days is like, and just using BoJack Horseman as a reference, is that some episodes are 30 minutes, some are 20. Like, it's just the story at the time sort of dictates how much time that they need for the episode. And this is sort of what some classic Simpsons fall victim to, either doing stuff to fill up the time or cutting back shit to bring it down. Yeah.
It's like the internet sort of making the idea of an album obsolete. You don't need to release 12 tracks on a single CD anymore. You can just kind of internet. Do 100 tracks at once. Do 2 tracks, whatever.
Yeah. And I think hip-hop artists are actually really leading the way on that and sort of dropping 2 to 5 track EPs at a time. And I honestly think that's the way of the future, to make sort of the medium of music more digestible.
It means they have the freedom to put out what they're comfortable putting out, not what they feel pressured to release,
That's it.
Then you don't end up with crap on your album because
Yeah.
you needed to like
Fill it
force
out
out
to
another
X
song.
number
Yeah.
of tracks.
Totally.
So it's about that time. We've got to end this segment, but first I got to ask if you have any other notes. We'll start with you, Danny.
My notes are just quoting my favorite bits, and it's all one favorite bit, so we'd be here another half hour.
All right. How about you, Claire?
One thing I never noticed before was just before Bart first sees, Krusty, after he dies, he's wearing a black armband, like,
Yeah.
like mourning. And I was like, oh, that's a nice little touch, nice little visual touch. But it is missing as soon as he gets home.
Yeah.
Well, he thought he saw Krusty.
He's like, he's alive. I don't need this shit anymore. Yeah.
Exactly. How about you, BT?
My last note is when Bart writes a check to Millhouse for $1 million. It's like a predator check. You've got to wait until you get 10,000. Millhouse is like, okay, and just stares at his watch patiently.
Yep. Only 8,004 years to go. I can't do maths.
No, it's hard. Why would anyone do maths?
I liked all the Bart Millhouse moments. It really showed their dynamic
Yeah.
without being like Bart being mean to Millhouse, which sometimes happens in the later seasons.
Definitely.
And it's a nice echo of pay to the order of Lisa, 1 cent. And no sense.
Yeah.
I had one more as well.
You got one more?
Yeah. When Krusty throws the GPS in the ocean, it's like, tell me where you are now.
Yeah, that was
My
good.
God, that is so relevant for nowadays. Like,
You know why as well? Because GPS does not work underwater.
And how do you know this?
Because my brother is an avid swimmer and he wanted to get like a Fitbit style watch, but you can get plenty of those sort of watches that'll work underwater, but you can't get ones that will also track your GPS thing. So
It's when you're underwater, you're not on the planet anymore.
oh.
where are you? It's like, it's actually a portal.
Yeah.
The ocean is kind of like a portal to hell.
To another world, a world of hell.
Yeah, that's where I think a lot of people who were like describing and giving artistic interpretations of hell got it wrong. I don't think it's actually a fire-filled place. I actually think it is deep ocean.
Deep ocean is so fucking creepy.
Horrifying.
Horrifying.
Anglerfish alone.
Yep. I found out about pig butt worms the other day. Not pleasant.
Fuck that. Those are 3 words that should never be next to each other.
You should look at them.
I'm literally doing that now. Let's go for this.
Well, you
I
shouldn't.
don't want to.
Okay, I'm going to cut in your deep ocean talk.
They look hilarious.
There's a mouth on one end and a vagina on the other.
Oh, the pig butt worm.
It's wrong. It's
Okay,
very wrong.
so Bart's lying in bed with his Krusty doll, and he pulls it, and the doll goes, oh, and he pulls it, and the doll goes, oh. First off, that's beautiful. It's this doll that just complains in a
Groans,
miserable
yeah.
Jewish voice.
Oh my god, it only just occurred to me that Homer's not really in this episode except for this
Except
scene.
for this scene.
Why, you could wake up dead tomorrow. Well, goodbye.
Oh, that was fucking amazing. That was magic.
And that timing as well for such
Yeah.
a busy episode. The couple of beats they spent on him just staring at
pause.
Bart, like that locked eye contact.
But you can tell from that delivery that he walked out of that room like dusting his hands,
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
now
Boy
that's
feels
parenting.
better now.
Bart, you want to try my new chains on hockey mask?
Very much so. All right, it's time for my final notes.
His final notes.
It's the final note.
Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. I like that Lisa gets excited about that she's got a slightly higher rate of interest, so she'll have an extra nickel in a couple of years or whatever. So Lisa.
Yeah.
Jimbo's real name is Corky.
Oh, how do we not say that?
Which is weird because I'm
So
sure
good.
he's James later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James Corky.
James is short
Bo.
for Corky. James is his middle name.
What's Corky short for?
Corkestrel.
I've got a question. What's muss?
Oh, muss is
Mess? Like no fist.
once you've kind of ground up grapes to make wine, that's called the muss.
I can't tell if he's lying.
He's
or
No,
not.
I'm
lying.
dead serious. No, that's 100% true.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't believe you. Look at that face.
So when you've got no fuss, there is no muss.
I don't think it's related to that expression,
Short
but
for
that's where I know
mustard.
the term must from.
That's all the muss in the house. All the cartons of porn going to the buyer in Japan.
Yeah.
I only bought a nickel. I didn't know there'd be pornography.
Who goes to an auction house with only a nickel?
Who goes
Yeah.
to an auction house not expecting pornography?
Especially a
Celebrity auction
Clown's
house.
auction house.
yeah, a
Not expecting
bankrupt celebrity
clown
estate.
pornography.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
they clean out like Queen Elizabeth's estate, there is going to be so much porn.
Was it clown pornography?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was for a
In
clown.
Queen Lizzie's house, obviously.
So yeah, this is a bit I definitely know was cut from
Yeah.
syndication. Like, yeah,
Can't have the children hearing the word pornography.
yeah.
Watch them have a clown explode instead.
And after a nearly 2-1 vote, the smiling Krusty was chosen.
How do we not talk about that?
Yeah.
That is so excellent. Like, I love it as well because the implication, because Bart's like depressed in front of the TV, wearing his crusty shirt, just all sad, and watching this news report.
I do love that his crusty shirt was clearly his regular shirt with like a crusty sticker on it. That, as far as the animators went, they're like, just put a crusty on it.
Yep, definitely. All right, guys, it is time to rank this thing. Danny, kick it off.
I would like to rank this show. I believe I'll give it a cubic. No, I thought this was amazing. I have very, very much of my life is quoting this one episode. I think it had some great, like, complex issues dealing with Bart's guilt over doing what's essentially the right thing, also not doing it personally at all. He was, like, roped into it. It was complex. It was well-rounded. It was fast. It felt like a big, long story crammed in 20 minutes, but it didn't feel rushed or like it skipped over beats. I don't have anything I want to change. Hey, there's a good reason. I have nothing that I could change about this episode.
That's a very solid point. How about you, BT?
I had something prepped and then I got drunk and forgot.
I'll handle this. BT, everybody!
Well, you know, it's difficult to rank this episode. It's having been on television for so many years that in many ways we all look up to it. And cubic.
Cubic for you.
BT, everybody!
Thank you. I'll be here for another funeral later.
Yeah, I'm giving it a cubic. I wanted to say this start up, but I didn't want to sort of give too much away to the audience about what way I was leaning with my rankings. But for my personal, like, top 20 or top 10, maybe even top 5, this is just so up there for me. There's so little wrong about it. I think that is such a great point. There's just so little that I could or would like to change. Yeah, for me, this wholly defines about what is so great about The Simpsons. So, yeah, cubic. Claire?
Cubic. It's too easy. I mean, there really hasn't been any problems with it. There's just no problems, and everyone's on point, and I think it really defines a lot of the things that we like about The Simpsons. And it's nice to finally all agree with you guys again after such a range of rankings earlier.
We've been at each other's throats all day.
Audio group hug, everybody. Hey, there's still time. Let's hug again.
All right, guys. Well, that'll be a unanimous Cubic Zirconia. This will be the 6th unanimous Cubic Zirconia for Season 7.
Nice.
It'll be joining Who Shot Mr. Burns Part 2, Bart Sells His Soul, Homer the Smithers, when Homer becomes the Smithers, 22 short films. Hey, both episodes we all reviewed together.
This is a solid season.
Oh, and The Curse of the Flying Hellfish.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. So good.
Why do we even watch the bad ones?
Because we have to.
Somebody has to, yeah.
All right, guys. I think that does it for episode 87 of The Simpsons Index. But before we get out of here, we like to ask our guests, what's something else outside of The Simpsons that you've been enjoying this week? BT, we'll start with you.
Darkest Dungeon just came out on the Switch,
and
it has been consuming my outside of work life completely. That's a turn-based dungeon crawler, amazing art style, very Lovecraftian / gothic horror theme. It's oppressively difficult, and I'm hooked so hard.
Yep. Oh, great. That sounds challenging.
Oh, yes.
How about you, Danny?
Well, I've been making some wonderful sandwiches this week.
Really? Do you have a favorite yet? If you were going to have one named after you, do you know what it would be?
Holy shit, we never asked you guys what your sandwich would be.
Yeah, we did. We did.
They just didn't have answers.
What'd you end up saying?
I think it was like a cheeseburger.
Were you leaning that way with that comment, or were you just...
You guys just like totally cut me off, man.
Oh, sorry.
That's why I'm coming back to you.
That's okay. I'm still deciding whether this is the Daniel sandwich, the Dan burger.
Yeah.
Yep, the Dan burger. I'm going with that. Let's see. It had lettuce, 3 types of cheeses. It had cucumber, beetroot, tomato. It had ham, salami, and Silverside on it.
Ooh.
Oh, it had something else as well.
Is this the sandwich you just ate?
Similar, but very tall.
Some sauce?
Oh, man. Yeah, this was one at home. I actually made it to take to work with hummus and chili and garlic on it.
Fuck yeah.
It was good.
We have chili sauce?
We have kebab chili. The best chili.
Oh, yeah, I did buy that.
Kebab chili?
Yeah, filthy ghetto kebab chili. It's the best of the chilies.
Awesome.
Also the worst at the same time. It kind of comes around both sides of the circle at the same time.
Yeah.
How about you, Claire? What is your sandwich for the Sandwich Index?
Well,
Or what's something you've been doing recently? That was the other question he started asking.
I'll get back to that. This is a more pressing issue.
I need to, I think it needs to be hot. Like I need a hot sandwich. So either like leftover roast chicken and sandwich, like we've had the roast the night before and you just put all that stuff, and you got the moist maker on the inside, a la Friends, which none of you watch, or some sort of delicious burger. I know sometimes in America they call burgers sandwiches.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I maintain a burger is a sandwich. A sandwich is not a burger.
Yeah. I actually kind of like that a Claire RR is either a leftover roast chicken sandwich or just a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Feels right, doesn't it?
Can't be fresh chicken. Has to be leftover.
Although we have to shout out to the Elephant Bean Cafe in Katoomba.
Yeah?
They do really, really delicious sandwiches in there.
Nice.
Very small menu sort of cafe, like looks tiny. Absolutely delicious.
All right. So, yeah, just to circle back to... So what have you guys been enjoying this week? Like podcasts, movies, TV shows, video games, anything like that? Start with you, Claire.
I had a cold, so I spent a lot of time in bed, which meant I was playing Animal Crossing Pocket Camp again.
Oh, really?
And it made me really, really want to play like old Animal Crossing games.
They have to announce a new one.
I really, really want them to, because then I've got a reason to get my very own Switch, not just like Pokemon Let's Go, but
Yeah.
they'll
Stardew
also
Valley.
be...
Stardew Valley. It's supposed to be really good. I'm so keen to play it.
Anyway, yeah, a lot of Animal Crossing.
And how about you, Danny? What have you been enjoying?
Oh, man. I started playing Celeste on the Switch just like this morning. I haven't stopped thinking about it. I've spent 2 hours driving just thinking, I bet I can beat this fucking level and get so close to the fucking end. And then that fucking, like, the evil shadow clones, there's like 5 of them chasing after me. I'm this close every damn time, but I cannot wait because I love stupidly hard games.
Yeah, you were like really into Enter the Gungeon.
I am still way about Gungeon. It's just...
Have you gotten a level 4 yet?
I have. Oh my god, it is crazy. So like level 2 is Gungeon proper and it's like just like dungeony. Level 3 is like the yellow acid bath mines. Then level 4 is like the zombie corpse of hell and there's just like flames and skulls everywhere and you are dead. I turned the corner and there was like screaming faces. To you out there in the real world, maybe talks of hell and screaming faces are just like, oh yeah, it's normal video game stuff. But no, this was terrifying. And I arrived there on 1/2 health bar, 1/2 heart at the start of the level, and you're just like, yeah, well, shit on you guys.
Time to be a clutch player and get through that shit.
And yeah, I'll vouch for that for Celeste anyway. I didn't get quite into a Gungeon as you, but yeah, I adored Celeste. It's just a simple mechanic that they've done in so many ways and a true puzzle platformer.
That's it. I really think that this kind of move, or not move, but at least trend at the moment for reductionism in gameplay, like going for little simple graphics, 8-bit or 9-bit, but going simple with production value means they can focus on the mechanics and the quality of the puzzles and the gaming and
Just like The Simpsons.
Yeah,
storyline.
Poor quality animation, high quality writing.
Yeah.
Thank
Better
you.
episode.
Absolutely.
So what I've been into, I have gotten into Auntie Donna in a very big bad way over the last week. If you don't know them, they're a comedy trio coming out of Australia. They do weird, surreal, cerebral, weird out humor. Like, look, if you just go onto their YouTube and you watch all their various web series, and they've got an hour-long live special on there. Look, I mean, if you're into it, you'll know within 3 seconds if you are or aren't. And I shared a clip with you guys this week about one of the songs that I can't get out of my head.
How's it go again?
We've got bread and eggs and butter. We got butter and cheese. We got eggs and bread. We got eggs, and we also got this goat. I just really want waffles.
They've got like a Mighty Boosh sort of surreal
Little bit.
They
Very
do,
good,
yeah.
All right, guys, that does it for episode 87 of the Simpsons Index. Thank you very much for joining me this evening.
Thank you for having us, Elliot. We missed you.
Oh, we missed you here too. It's been 17 episodes since we've had you on.
Oh, God, that's so long.
We've got to get you on again soon. All right, guys, that has been Claire RR.
Bye.
That has been Danny Rosewell.
Dan RR.
And the co-host with the most, BT Calloway.
A professional in a recording studio is still a professional.
And I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at simpsonsindex on Twitter. And now, please stay tuned for the bonus scenes.
JD's and Lentilman. Tonight on the Speedway, Eatway.
Get ready for comments, and discussion on your favorite Simpsons episodes. As well as this one. This one. This one.
Like and subscribe. Subscribe.
Did you say his name was John Sportsballer?
Yes, let's go with that.
Probably. I'm quite drunk right now. In case I didn't say it earlier, John Swartzwater. Oh my god, it is a very drunk sounding name.
That's
Sports ball. Homer's learning to be a... Oh, no.
Is it your mum?
It says no caller ID. Hang on, this might be important.
Answer it. It might be your mum.
Yeah. It's one of those spam calls. Hang up, you weirdo.
This is the Chinese government?
It is the Chinese
Do
government.
you think they were talking... They heard us talking about China?
Where was your phone made? My God.
Why don't you put it on silent, you weirdo?
I thought it was on silent.
Everyone gets those phone calls, though.
I've never had a call that just started speaking Chinese to me.
No, they're going around at the moment.
Yeah, that's an amazing coincidence right after I was like, oh, don't be racist about China.
Hey,
I
they're
said
calling,
don't. I said
they're
don't.
calling
Hey.
you to recruit you.
Yeah, maybe they're like, we like the way you think, Mr. Rosewell. How would you like to work for the Chinese?
I'm sorry about this, guys. I really just derailed our conversation. Just
That's
slightly,
okay.
though.
You derailed yourself, so.
Quickly, I. One is...
You mean 3?
Okay,
I misheard you.
Yeah, okay.
Any other musical moments?
Watchmen babies, they'll watch it for you. Watchmen babies.
I like my meat pies massaged, and I like my hot dogs plumped.
Fuck.
What? How do you eat dinner? You need answers. Scan land. No, you know what? Sorry.
Everyone else, us, Ned Flanders.
Bam. Nailed it. I really liked Krusty in this bits.
I like the Simpsons bit.
I enjoyed how it was motion created by repeated animation cells.
He's right. That was pretty good.
Yeah, the way that they can take all those still images and give the illusion that these things are actually moving. Crazy.
What about the oils? The
Oil rig.
oil rig?
Crusty.
Oil slick.
Different season. That's oil spill.
Sweater slick.
But we have had a lot of
Ooh, it's hot and wet and slick, and it's making everybody sick.
She's singing that song about an oil spill, but it's clearly about her vagina.
What, really? Yes. Bob's Burgers.
we're not in The Simpsons.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
Molman was eating a burger in IRS Burger.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
That's
he must have filled out his forms 6 to 8 weeks earlier.
Which is weird, because it only just opened.
I know.
How did he know?
I don't know.
You know, weirdly, that seems like the exact kind of diner that he'd be like,
Yeah.
finally
Yeah.
a diner for me.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. It's easy. Are we recording?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Pause, record.